hosting me.
Sorry, brother.
No,
you're not busy, man.
You're not sorry. You've been just ignoring me. Nick always responds right away.
I was actually, when Nick hit me up just now, I was talking over a potential job, so with the HR person. So I might be employed again soon.
Is that good or bad?
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in light of what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So for everyone listening, this is episode 69.
What?
Yeah. With Daniel Libby and Nick Phelps. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves while I go shut my dog the fuck up?
Go ahead, Nick.
Age before beauty.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. You're saying I'm old and ugly. Awesome.
Yeah, we both know it.
Yeah. No, Dan Libby here, Senior Master Sergeant, retired United States Air Force with a little over 26 years in. Worked a lot of different things, to include in the intelligence community and stuff. And Tom and I have been talking a little bit about coronavirus and artificial intelligence and other things going on in the world. So it's good to be back on the program.
Nick Phelps, I'm a tech sector. I did 14 and a half years. I'm retired myself, too. Danny and I were in Iraq together for a year, 6 long, gruesome months of overhang clash with drill sergeants in the Air Force. We don't do that. But, shit, was it now 13 years, Dan?
Yeah.
About that. Years. No, it's 14 years.
Yeah.
2005, 15 years.
Yeah. 15 years. Yeah, because we linked up in 05 for training. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. No.
Yeah, well...
no, we don't anymore.
06.
06, yeah.
Right.
But,
close enough. It's been a while.
So,
Intel, mechanic, RPA operations, drones for you people like Tommy.
Yeah.
And,
what's that mean? That's our short bus guys?
Yeah.
We fly the short drones.
But besides that, I'm on furlough right now, from my doctor because of my lungs and heart. So I'm doing a whole bunch of this now.
Yeah, everyone is, man. But dude, I keep saying it, and I don't. Dude, the guy who wrote Stacy's mom died from coronavirus. Stacy's
her mom did have it going on.
Yeah, well, apparently she did. Stacy's mom has got Dan Schlesinger died today, 52 years old. Yeah, dude. Not old. No, and he had no prior health complications. 52. COVID-19.
Bad.
So, yeah, man.
Bad stuff, man.
Yeah, so is anyone surprised that China was lying about their numbers?
No.
Everyone's all, oh, well, it turns out China was lying. Okay. And it's like, what do you mean it turns out? Did anyone, when China came out and they're like, we have no more cases, everyone just ate that shit up. Like, wow, that's fantastic.
Tommy, you're frozen. Is he frozen on your end, Dan?
No, I got him on my end. It's your computer, bro.
It's your computer. It's your computer, Nick. Yeah.
Hey, yeah. So I would like for China to explain why they had 2 million cell phone users just drop off the face of the planet
12.
in the last couple of weeks.
12
million now.
Yeah.
Oh, it went from 2 million to 12 million cell phone users.
in like 7 days.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, and not only that, wasn't there a mass delivery, like a train delivery of urns to Wuhan?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty great. And on top of that, you got to think of China and how they're going to block out communications.
Yeah.
Like they're going to turn off cell phone or turn off the towers.
Yeah.
So, hey, Tommy, you're moving again. Hey, good. But it's seriously like, how do you black out information getting out? How do you stop information from getting out? You cut all communication ties, telephones, internet, everything. Yeah. So what are the actual numbers? I've been saying from day one. What about Beijing? What about Shanghai?
Yeah.
What about the huge populations? They're all protesting when they had those big atomizers spraying God knows what, Lysol or more Wuhan, who the hell knows? Like what the hell's going on? How did we pass the largest country in the world? And India too. They're up there too. They're not reporting all their stuff.
Yeah.
They can't. So many people.
Yeah, everyone's trying to shit on the USA like, we have the most cases. This is entirely on the Trump administration. And it's like, no, dude, we're just the most transparent fucking country. All right? That's why. It's because you can see it all. It's like, it's fucking when everyone's like, fucking dictator in chief. And it's like, dude, the fact that you can make a tweet that says you're a dictator shows that he's not a dictator. Because if you're a dictator, that tweet wouldn't exist. You would be locked up. So would your parents and your kids. But not only that, it's the whole everyone's using this to take pot shots at America. Mostly Americans doing it. Like, oh, we're the worst. We can't do this. And it's like, dude, China and India aren't better. They're just not fucking reporting it. All right? So it's like, if I ask 100 people if they have coronavirus and 90 say yes, but China only has 2 that say yes, that doesn't mean that we have more. That means I asked more and I reported more. It's...
Exactly.
I
mean, if you check out, like, Africa's going to be... God knows what the hell's going to happen there.
Yeah.
But check out the Middle East. Check out our favorite country, Dan, Iran.
Yeah.
You know, they are reporting, I would say, knowing how Iran is, they're reporting a little bit out.
Yeah.
And their numbers are pretty freaking high for such a small country.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how is China barely more than them?
Right.
It makes zero sense.
Yeah, it's hard to trust anything coming out of China right now. You know, it really is. But I think it highlights the notion that we need to be more resilient as a country, right? Not rely on them for medical supplies, not rely on them for antibiotics, not rely on them for our commerce.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
So
it's
we need to bring that stuff back into our country.
Yeah.
We got to.
Yeah, it's because this can and will happen again. It's, you know, there's 7 billion people. This, you know, this can and will happen again. I mean, Dan, it's documented, you and I, over episodes over the last 3 months, us saying, does anyone really fucking believe China? Like, it's back in January, it's me and Dan going, this is horseshit. There's no way that they only have 10 cases.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but there's also, you know, eat a slice of humble pie. There's also an episode of me having someone on talking about a guy that just canceled. This was in January. He was in California. And I was like, dude, this guy just canceled on me. He told me he had to go get supplies, and he said he was going up to his cabin in the woods because coronavirus is in California. And the guy I was having on, this is a photographer, Bradley Wenzel, and he was like, what? And I was like, I know, what? And, you know, fast forward.
That day was me.
Yeah. No, that wasn't you. No, there was...
I'm saying he was supposed to come on that day, wasn't he?
Who? No. The day I had Bradley Wenzel on, there was supposed to be someone on before him.
Oh, all right.
Who has never come on, who has cut contact with me since. But yeah, this is like early January, and he was like, yeah, man, I heard it's coming to California, and they're going to start quarantining us. And sure enough, there's on video me going, that's not going to happen. So big slice of humble pie, I'll eat that right now. But, you know, there's no hiding that.
There's going on in California right now, right? So I just read a report this morning that San Francisco has now outlawed reusable grocery bags. Right. Yes. Now, this is a city who years ago outlawed, you know, basically plastic and paper bags.
Yeah.
In the grocery store. Yeah. And so now they're saying, you know, they said, hey, you got to use your own bags if you want to bag your groceries. Now they're like, no, we can't do that because it's going to spread the virus. Like, okay, dude, guys, get it together. You know, some of the other things going on in California, I talked to a good buddy of mine who's an FFL dealer out there who said that there's a bunch of people now realizing, hey, man, we need guns, right? So as he puts it, they're liberals. Now, I don't get too political on this stuff, so I'm just regurgitating what he was saying, all right, that a bunch of liberals are now trying to buy guns in California and asking for a loophole in the waiting period because they need them now, and this is a national emergency, you know, and gun dealerships are even calling law enforcement because these guys won't leave the shop waiting for their background investigations, and the police are like, well, now we're going to look into you to see why you need a gun right now. Like, are you a threat, right? So it's just an interesting shift in the paradigm, right? Folks that were against guns in the past, you know, all of a sudden say, hey, you know, you need to waive the requirements for us to be able to get them now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's crazy things going on there. And then, one more thing real quick on the California piece. So we're having a hard time trying to be able to sell our house in California right now because real estate agents are not being allowed to show houses. Yeah. So people have to either take virtual tours or buy a house based on pictures alone, right? Interest rates on houses are going up. Banks are starting to restrict their lending policies. So up until about this week, nationwide, I think it was like, you know, across the U.S., like 50% debt to income ratio would qualify you to buy a house at a certain cap, right? So long as the loan kept you at 50% or less. That's now changed to 41%. So interest rates are going up, and it's going to be harder for people to even qualify, if they have more than 41% debt to income ratio taken on that home loan. So I'm pretty much convinced that I'm going to have to be living in California for the next couple of years until all this stuff settles out and I can actually get my house on the market.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I saw that on Reddit. Someone literally posted, was like, yeah, I tried to get a gun and I've never owned a gun before, and they were telling me I had to have a background check, and you're like, why do I need a background check? They're like, what do you mean? Like, what reason? Coronavirus, that's why. I don't have any, and all of a sudden it's like, man, isn't that so ironic? Why do I need a background check? I thought it was my right. It's like, well, yeah, why do you think everyone else has been saying for the last 50 years? What do you mean? There is no national, because you can now draw that precedent of saying it's a national emergency, of saying that there's a pandemic. You can now draw that precedent forever and be like, well, from now on, shouldn't there always be loopholes? Because who knows when the next pandemic's coming? All time can now be, once this is gone, every day after this ends can be, you could qualify it as this is just preventing the next pandemic. We don't know when it's coming. So, yeah, it's pretty ironic. Now we need guns. Or not only that, the whole argument of, well, if you need someone with a gun, you always call the cops. And it's like, a lot of cops are sick now. Who are you going to call? Dude, I watched Contagion last night with Matt Damon. God damn, man. They predicted this shit. Perfectly. Yeah. It came out after swine flu, the H1N1. So I think, maybe 2010, 2011?
2009, 2010.
Oh, yeah. God damn. Have y'all seen that?
Yeah.
Dude, I haven't.
You need to, Nick. You need to, dude. They nailed it. They nailed it. Every part of it was like, this is exactly how it unfolded. So even at the beginning, they're in the emergency operations center in the Pentagon, and they're like, all right, so are we looking at weaponized bird flu? And I was like, me and Dan back in February, we're like, this is weaponized. This is biowarfare.
And same thing I said about them targeting our markets, targeting people breathing issues. Like I said it, Dan. I don't know if you watched my 4-hour-long podcast. It was longer than yours.
Only by a few minutes.
Yeah.
Actually, it went 6 hours. We had to edit out the last hour and a half because,
it was personal.
Yeah, we actually no. So we actually went 5 hours 48 minutes. So get fucked, Danny boy. But
Tommy, you and I talked for over 6 hours that day. So
that is true.
Because we talked like an hour and a half before we even went on video.
That's true. All right, whatever. Okay, whatever.
So,
Nick, you were back to what?
For
I'm not worthy, bro.
Oh, Dan. Hey, guess what? You have hair unlike the other interrogators and me. We're good. So, like New York State, I'm sure you guys see New York. You see Cuomo being praised for everything that he's doing. I guarantee that motherfucker is going to run for president. He's saying he's not. He would only answer no. He wouldn't give any other reason. He wouldn't tell the reporters shut up. He kept saying no. So he's sending patients from New York City up here to Albany, Utica, Syracuse, and Rochester. On top of that, in the corrections, the COs were told that they couldn't wear PPE. They couldn't wear masks, even though there's inmates that are exposed, including Harvey Weinstein, who just came through here in Marcy, about 20 minutes away of that.
Good old Harvey.
Yeah. So you have these inmates that are coming through, being transported over to make room downstate, and they're getting the COs sick or exposing them. They're going home to their families. So I did a post on Facebook that says Cuomo's killing New York, which he is. By moving all these people, I said it months ago, probably about a month ago, that they should quarantine around New York City, Westchester, upstate, as they call it down there, and Long Island, and like Newark, New Jersey, kind of keep that in there too. But don't allow people to leave. So when the patients get moved up here to the hospitals, they're also their families are coming up and going to hotels nearby.
Yeah.
So they're exposing everyone in the hotel industry. Like, oh, hey, I don't have food here, so I need to go out and eat. So now it's spreading that way. It's a telephone game with Wuhan flu.
Yeah, it's
the Wu flu.
The Wu flu.
It's crazy. Like, again, with our modern technology today, we have no idea what's going on, how it's going on, what the actual facts are, because we have everything in our hands. 102 years ago, they did not have this.
Yeah.
They had just word of mouth, and that will get you sick.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the actual mode of communication was getting people sick.
Yeah. Now, like, I had to run out quick, and I went out yesterday briefly, or day before, I'm not sure anymore. And it's kind of eerie to not see people out, but yet again, today, because it's somewhat nice out here in New York, there's people everywhere. Everywhere. I get it, they're out walking, cool. They're keeping their distance. But they stop and talk with each other, and they're closer than what we are right now to my monitor.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, keep your distance.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's.
I'm seeing similar things in Illinois and Tennessee. So I came out to the Midwest about 3.5 weeks ago to help my daughter out with our grandchildren, because she works for Homeland Security, had to work, and my son-in-law is a first responder at the same airport and stuff. So they had to work, and schools are shut down, daycare shut down. So we came out to help with the grandkids, and people just weren't taking stuff seriously. On the way out here. On the trip out here, we drove on the 40 to the 44, went through several states, and I mean, those highways were like ghost towns.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a eerie sight, right?
Yeah, you called me.
It was rainy and drizzly and overcast the whole trip. My wife and I were towing a trailer, and we stayed in like KOAs along the way because hotels were shut down along those routes. When I left my house in California and started making my way to the 40, I had to go up the 15 freeway, which is the main artery that feeds Vegas from San Bernardino and Los Angeles. Now, I grew up off of that freeway in the high desert, and I have never seen that highway so empty because they shut down Vegas the weekend we were rolling out. I've seen graveyards busier than that freaking freeway was that day. You know what I mean? It was insanely quiet. So, heading east, people were kind of taking that seriously. Even those little places we stopped at for gas or whatever, you wait in line 20 feet back almost, from the counter until that person was done and gone, and minimal exchange. They prefer to use credit cards and stuff rather than exchange cash or whatever. But then I get to Illinois first, and people are still out running around like it's busy. Oh, hey, I got a free day off work, so I'm going to go run all these errands and stuff. Down here in Tennessee, where I'm at currently, at my son's house, helping him with some things, it's the same thing right now. People are running around. But the problem is, you had all these spring breakers on the East Coast, Florida, Virginia, wherever, who were out there partying, hooping it up, and now they're making their way back home over the last couple of weeks to Nashville and Chicago and other places, right? And that disease is just starting to spread like wildfire because nobody is really staying home.
Yeah.
So that's the problem, man.
So with snowbirds, I'm a photographer for the Boilermaker Road Race. It's a 15K, 5 and 15K here in Utica. It starts on the east side of Utica, comes all the way down here to the brewery, bunch of free beer, bands. It's awesome. It really is. So I got asked to come on and help shoot that, and the director of photography, he's a snowbird. Like, he lives up here. After January 1st, him and his wife drive down to Florida. I just talked to him yesterday, I want to say. And fucking buddy's calling in, fuck him. And so I talked to him yesterday or the day before just to see how he's doing, see if he made it back up, see if he's staying down there. He's like, well, he goes, there's a couple different things. He goes, if we come up, he's older too. He goes, if I come back up, he goes, I got to drive through all the states. Like I said, he's in Florida. He goes, there's no coming to Florida anymore. It's only going out.
Yeah.
But we stay down here. He goes, the sunlight kills the virus when it's on surfaces. So he's like, do we stay down here or do we come back up? I go, if you come back up, come as soon as possible before it gets really bad.
Yeah. And
you get stuck in between, or stay down there and just stay down there.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's.
I'm looking to have to go back to California. And a couple of days ago, Kentucky kind of closed up their borders. Now police are stopping people at the border going, hey, what's your business? What are you doing? Texas apparently did something similar to that, right? So if I have to drive back to California, I'm looking at having to go around Kentucky, then head north to the 70, take that all the way to just south of Salt Lake City there to hit the 15 and come down. So I'm adding like 2 or 3 days on my trip back, just to go around Texas and stuff, which I think is a smart thing for states to do. But what are they going to be doing about interstate commerce and the trucking industry and all that? I mean, are they going to impose the same restrictions on those guys where they say, okay, if you come into our state of Texas, then you have to go into mandatory quarantine for 2 weeks, to make sure you're good to go? Or are they going to go, well, wait a minute, you're delivering toilet paper and everybody's out, so come on in?
Yeah.
What's the risk associated with that? The distancing thing, I get. It makes sense to limit the spread or slow down the spread.
Yeah.
But I don't know that we're going to stop it. Even if everybody stayed home for 2 weeks, it's not going to die out and just be gone.
You can't stop it. So I had to interject. So I had on a doctor like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about coronavirus. And he was like, no, he's like, everyone in the world will probably end up getting it. And he was like, but, so this is what it is. He's like, is it hard for you to hold a penny? He's like, no. He's like, what about 100 pennies? And I was like, yeah, I could cup 100 pennies. He was like, what about 1,000 pennies? And I was like, yeah, I think I'm still, yeah. He's like, what about 100,000 pennies? I was like, I'm not strong enough to hold 100,000 pennies. He's like, all right, so let's bring it back down to 1,000 pennies. Could you hold 1,000 pennies? And I was like, well, that's only a couple pounds, but I don't know if I could fit it in my hands. And he goes, bingo. It's not that you're not strong enough. You just don't have enough place to put them. He's like, that's what coronavirus is. He's like, it's not this medical anomaly, what is it? He's like, we know how to treat it. We can only hold 100 pennies. And he's like, that is where quarantining and isolation comes in.
Yeah.
If everyone gets it in waves over a year and a half, it's fine. It'll be hard, but it's fine. We'll do it. He's like, it's when you get these peaks and we can only handle, let's just say, 100 people a day, but all of a sudden 11,000 people are coming in. He's like, well, now those 11,000 people, whatever the fatality rate is, it's going to be that percentage of that, no hope of it being lower. That's where you get the spikes. And he said,
I think, Nick, you'd agree with me on this. It'd be a lot like combat triage, right? Where you have a mass casualty event, and now you got to look at the people who you can actually save and those that you can't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is.
And so what's going to happen is the sick, the elderly, maybe even the infants, they get this stuff. Once our medical community or medical apparatus is saturated, they're going to have to do some kind of triage like that.
Yeah.
And that's a scary thing, for a lot of people. Like for me, I'm in relatively good health, but my mom, who's in her 60s, may not be, right? And so if she gets it, she may get treatment for it, or if there's no room at the end, there's no room at the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of a scary thing, especially when, we're talking about a virus that has the potential to be treated. It has the potential to be treated. We may come up with a vaccine for it, just like the flu vaccine or whatever. You know what I mean? But that's some time off because they got to do all these clinical trials and follow these rules and all that stuff. Okay, I got it. But it's like, okay, so we need to flatten that bell curve with that isolation and stuff like that, so that those medical things can catch up. But it is kind of a scary thing when we're looking around and going, hey, there's some places where people aren't taking this stuff seriously.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And, I'm the most guilty of it. I was the one at first that was like, it's not a big thing. So, I mean, yeah, just from the get-go, I'm absolutely guilty of that. But, I mean, even just my family, me and my parents, I can say we've done a goddamn stand-up job, probably from, first week of March, maybe March 10th. We have just been locked down. Like, my mom and I will go, we'll do running around the neighborhood. It's 1 mile loop. That's it. I mean, no one's going anywhere. It's just us in here. I can say I haven't seen anyone out. If there are neighbors, it's, again, families, but it's all in tight circles. But yeah, that is kind of a scary thing, because it's not even like, can we not, we can deal with these, none of these cases are cases that are like, again, a house episode, like, we don't know what it is. Like, we know what it is, but like triage, it's like, if we have one doctor and 10 injured soldiers and one of them is bleeding out, if that one was bleeding out was in a tier 1 trauma hospital, sure, they could deal with it. But where we are right now, in the middle of the mountains in Afghanistan, we can save 4 other soldiers for the price of one. And the thing is, you have to break it down, and it sounds psychopathic and mechanical, but at some point, you have to come to that. It's like, at some point, someone has to make the decision. Like, it's not something you can put your head in the sand, and that's where it's going to come in.
It really becomes clinical at that point. And I think we're going to see another issue in the health industry that people aren't really talking about right now, and that's the psychological effects of our caregivers. I mean, it's tough enough every day coming to work where there's people sick. But when you're coming into work every day and you can't save those people and they're dying, that's going to have lasting effects on their psyche too. You know what I mean? And so there's going to be some long-term care maybe required for them as well. So my hat's off to our healthcare community right now, because they've got a Herculean job ahead of them, and it's scary and it's tough, and a lot of them are pushing through it. So we need to think as a nation how we're going to take care of them going forward, just like we do with our combat vets who come back with PTSD and things like that.
Yeah.
My brother's a nurse. I was going to go pick up a bunch of face shields for him. This people out of their house, they're making them, 3D printing them, doing couple different ways too of doing them. And for his hospital, they only have a handful left for the entire hospital out in Syracuse, where all the douchebags from New York City are coming up because they're dirty Cuomo lovers down there. So unfortunately, it's going to be, back to being spread, but they don't have enough supplies. That goes back to you, Tommy, talking about, the 1,000 pennies. If you don't have the supplies, like Cuomo had the warehouse of ventilators. Why? Oh, because it's not at apex yet. What's exactly? Who's making that call? You? Fuck you, buddy.
Yeah.
Go jump off your fucking father's bridge, you douchebag.
Yeah.
By the way, he named the bridge after his father, who was also governor years ago. So he snuck it in just before the bill was closed out, just before they went in recess. Excuse me. He snuck it in, and it got approved.
But hey, what about all those fucking senators selling stock when they got the COVID national security briefing before everyone else? Fuck those people.
I heard that they all have stuff on Hillary Clinton too.
Well, rest in peace.
Oh, so what you're saying is we're going to see more suicides in the future?
Yeah.
No, Clintoning yourself.
Yeah. No, it's going to be 22 a day, but it's going to be with Congress members. Yeah.
Hey, so I'm sure you guys are tracking this too, right? The House and the Senate have been trying to push bills through to get money to combat this thing, but it seems like people want to keep our politicians, our elected officials, keep putting pork belly tags on this stuff.
Fuck that.
It's like to include a pay raise for them.
Yeah.
Fuck those.
It's like wait a minute. Why don't you just push the money through to fight this thing and focus on that instead of all these other little agendas you got going on? You guys can hash that stuff out in another avenue, another form. You know what I mean? Just get the money approved and press.
Yeah.
I mean, that just to me as a taxpayer, man, frustrates the crap out of me.
I almost wish Trump would just come on and be like, we can resume being at each other's throats in a couple months, but we got to do this right now. Like, we got to hit pause on the political theater. Like, I wish he would say, like, we can go right back at it. I know you hate me. That's fine. Like, it's, you might have to do something. Was it Teddy Roosevelt? No, it wasn't the Great Depression, but there was like a run on the banks before that. It was some president, or it was some like head of the Federal Reserve. But there is a story where it's like somewhere in New York, this guy literally he had all the CEOs of all the big banks, might have been 1913, brought them all into the big board of directors meeting room in some penthouse in some just skyscraper in Manhattan. Yeah, it was like 5 years before World War I. Brought them all in there, and then locked the door and got rid of the key and was like, all right, we're gonna figure out how to quell this mass panic. Like, we got some water, we got some food. It's all these rich guys no, I'm going back. And he's like, we're not going back till this thing's figured out. What do you know? They banged out a deal pretty quickly. It's
a think tank environment.
Yeah,
really is what it is.
Yeah,
and for every decision that Trump makes, it's gone through numerous other think tanks to even get to that. And same thing with Obama and Bush and Clinton and Bush and all the way back through, over the past 100+ years, it's been like that. These think tanks are there, who, what, where, when, why, how, what Dan and I used to do. And then you exploit every one of those nouns, and then every one of those nouns. And what are the short-term, medium-term, long-term, extreme long-term to every one of these actions? So everyone's like, oh, yeah, Trump needs to get off Twitter. Everybody fucking agrees with this. I agree. You all agree. This shit's fucking funny.
Yeah.
However, get off Twitter. I get it. It's the whole transparency that carried over from Obama on what's going on.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hunker down and just get the job done. Do what you can what your think tanks and advisors advise you to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough. You know, people want to point fingers at him like, can you do that job? Can you be like, okay, you 20 are going to die, but you 150 are going to live? Can you make that choice?
Mm.
You know?
Well, this is like politics 101, right? When both sides of the aisle can't agree on something and get something done for the American people, it's easy to blame the president, regardless of what political party that president's representing, you know, in the White House. So, I mean, it makes him an easy target. But at the same time, I mean, his power is actually kind of limited. We need Congress and the Senate to get on board and sort this stuff out together.
Yeah.
You know,
This isn't.
we need that as citizens, and we don't need them, you know, adding a bunch of fat to that bill or you know, to get that money passed. We just need them to, hey, buy medical supplies, help stimulate the economy, and let's work on a cure and or vaccination for this virus and move out on that. Like, I really don't care if our elected officials get a pay raise. That shouldn't be an issue here.
Yeah.
It should not be an issue. You know, all these additional things that they're trying to throw on there, whether it's cell phones for poor people or whatever, like, I don't care about that right now. I don't care.
So it's not
life America.
There was
it's not life, limb, or what's the other one? Life, limb, or what, Dan?
Eyesight.
Yeah.
Life, limb, or eyesight. Yeah.
There was a cool thing that was. I remember it started when I was in high school, so 2005 to 2009. But it was about like mass computing, and what you could do is you could like sign on.
2005, 2009.
Yeah.
Where were we, Dan?
Chewing on dirt in the Middle East.
Yeah. It's good dirt. Thank you, sir. But
sorry.
Yeah, there was something where like you could register your computer. So like when you were away at school, you could sort of give up its processing power, however tiny that was. And the idea was like if millions of people did this, it would go to
it's huge. It's still being used today.
Yeah,
yes,
you could go to you could use it to like help simulate the folding of proteins and stuff. Shit, man, like what if they just did that? Like, hey, everyone, like sign up, like every laptop, every device, like let's just start crunching the shit for coronavirus. Or does all of them combined not even hold a candle to a supercomputer? And are they using a supercomputer to help fucking fix this shit? Like,
hey Watson, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Come on, Watson.
Yeah. So just being devil's advocate, you know, all the pork, all the extra fat spending in there, it's shitty that they're doing it. Is the move at a certain point to just say, fuck it, yeah, sure, get it through? At a certain point, do you just suck the dick and be like, hey, there are people dying, we can come back? I mean, I know it's shitty and they don't deserve to get all the little, because they're all, the thing is with all the congressmen is they're all fucking elitist. They all have the money. They all have the security details. They don't have the worries that everyone else has. So if they're like, we're gonna drag this thing out and we're gonna until we get the bill we want, it's like, motherfucker, you're not at home, right? You know, you were one of the elitist 535 members in the United States. Like, so they aren't feeling the same pains as everyone else.
It comes down to priorities, right? So are the priorities to take care of your constituents and protect them against this outbreak? Or is it to tack on a whole bunch of stuff for those remaining after, you know, this virus calls the herd?
Yeah.
You know?
It's, yeah, you know, it, you would think that we would, so as in terms of like wartime manufacturing, like there are already auto companies like Tesla and Ford, shout out Tesla and Ford, producing ventilators and masks and respirators.
There's people doing it at home right now.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Like you said,
my mom doing, you know, the mask herself.
Yeah.
For people.
I mean, I wonder if that could be utilized more, like, because it's not just like, that's awesome.
I love the gorilla there.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's not the only time I've had a monkey like that on my face.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nick. Yeah, but like,
speaking of bird flu, and the whole wet market thing, yeah.
God damn it.
That might be a story for when we're off the air.
Yeah. I wonder if I can like around the horn. I wish I could get one of those like mute buttons. Yeah. Beep. Dick. No more points for Nick. I don't give a shit. You know, is there something you can do? Because you make a vaccine and just literally dump it in the water supply. Like if they said in Contagion, he's like, yeah, the head of the CDC is like, the National Guard just called me and wanted to know if we could make a vaccine and put it in the water supply. And the doctor on the other end of the phone's like, I'm going home. I'll see you tomorrow. Like, it's
it doesn't
retarded.
really work that way, you know.
Yeah.
Well, if it's aerosol, you know, you go to Batman where they, you know, they put the stuff in the
Yeah. You are the first one.
You know, like, you know, is that plausible?
Yeah.
Now, watching that movie, I'm like, okay, it attacks water source. 85% of our body is what? Water.
Yeah.
So how does it not kill the people? That's what I don't get.
Yeah.
Yeah. But exactly, Tommy. You know, it's like, well, there's one video, Dan, just before you came on, I was talking about the aerosol that they're spraying in China. Did you see those videos?
Yep.
Yeah.
What are they spraying?
Wait, are you talking about the disinfectors?
Yeah,
It looked like the same trucks I saw in Turkey that were fogging for mosquitoes.
I was gonna say, but those
Same
are
type of dispersal apparatus.
But those are in every city in the world right now.
no.
But the people with the hoses, is that what we're talking about?
No, we're talking about trucks that are like.
Oh.
Yeah, it looks like a giant snow-making machine, like how they make snow on ski hills. But spraying this aerosol all against these buildings all the way down through in big plumes of smoke.
Have you seen Chernobyl on HBO? That show came out about a year ago. Well, they use those in like Pripyat right when Chernobyl happens. They have these trucks going down, and they have things pointing either side. They're just dumping. I don't know what it is, but
well, for the radioactive dust, you want that water so it can grab a hold of the water and settle. You don't want it to be airborne, so it'll settle down the ground faster. That's why they did that.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
What are they spraying?
Seems to be a lot of similarities between Chernobyl and Wuhan flu. Doesn't it? In terms of like hiding the outbreak, hiding how bad the severity is, and then it's only once it becomes apparent that it's going to affect the global community do they actually kind of open up and say.
There might be some similarities there.
There's a lot of fucking similarities.
It's like that with anything. It's not a knee-jerk reaction. It's actually listening to the think tanks and advisors on what's going on.
Yeah,
like
they're both communist countries.
This way, is it going to cause people to go out and start looting and breaking into places?
Yeah. Well,
and that's when we come back to people who are against guns, wanting to buy guns now.
Yeah, we're gonna see some novel innovation in 3D printed guns, ghost guns. You can't get a gun now, but there's a guy down the street. You give him $200, or you give him a roll of toilet paper, he'll get you a Glock. Like, shit.
Bitcoin, the new currency, man.
Yeah, you only need it to fire a couple times. If you just want home defense, yeah, you could be like, yeah, it's a shitty 3D printed gun. It will break after a couple shots, but
hey, till then.
Yeah, hey, you gotta. Yeah, it's got some. There's gonna be a lot of innovation in household weaponry.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
If no one can get guns, there's going to be a lot of innovation in getting. Fuck you. Fuck you.
And there's one interesting thing about Chernobyl, though, right? Which I don't think we're going to see with a coronavirus or any other kind of viral outbreak, is that there's a fauna growing there now on site that is actually eating the radioactive material, right? Yeah. I don't think we're going to see Mother Nature just consume a virus like it is with the radioactive materials. So we're at a loss there. Yeah.
Why not, dude? If it can consume radioactivity, it can consume a fucking organic virus.
I don't know.
Radioactivity, that's the end game. If there's something that can eat that, I don't know, man. Do you think that there's any sort of like, if there's any sort of like light that would disinfect? Almost like a high-powered UV.
Yeah, it is a Type C UV.
Yeah. What if everyone goes inside and they just start fucking... Maybe now is the time for real chemtrails. Maybe we need to start putting disinfectant out there.
Someone was just talking about that. Who the hell?
Chemtrails, it is your time.
Off of Seattle, you could see a bunch of, they said military airplanes flying along, but it wasn't their normal path. I'm like, yeah? Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Some sort of mass disinfectant at 30,000 feet. Yeah, man.
But also with going back to, going outside, like my buddy down in Florida. You go outside, and if it's on your clothes, the sun rays will kill it. Unless you're in New York and it's like fucking England and it never sun shines here.
Yeah.
Or Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah. But really, like, you go outside a little bit, first off, you need it. Your skin needs it. Dan, get outside, you ginger.
Hey, man, I don't want to get rickets, but I don't want carcinoma either.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I'm way too white, man.
I've had enough sunburns over the Middle East, man, to be concerned about that. Anyways, I've had multiple biopsies taken, off my body for skin ailments. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I got a divot into my nose there where one was taken off. And, I'm all for, hey, let the sun do its job. Us pasty gingers have to kind of balance that,
Face the microwave window, too.
Yeah, man, I already know that's how I'm going to fucking die. I already know it's going to be skin cancer. It's not today, it's not tomorrow, but I know that's how I'm going. So, what is the move right now? If you're a fucking billionaire, what, do you got a bunker? Do you go to Antarctica? What's the move? Get away from everyone. Go fucking hide out.
Lock the gates, man, and spray everything down with bleach water.
Yeah. So, let's just get down to the juicy. Is this a bioweapon from China?
It's too early to tell, honestly, on how it was dispersed. It's going to come down to, is it actually the man-made virus, like the one doctor from Harvard? Did it come from him? Did it come from someone else? Did it come from someone within China who did it? Was it us who did it? Why is Wuhan? Yeah, I get it, the wet markets. I've been to them. Dan, I don't know if you've been to them in Korea or anywhere else. We've all been to them, most of us. But they've been overseas, over there. So that's been around for millennia, the wet markets. That's nothing new.
What is a wet market? I keep hearing it. I don't know what a wet market is.
A wet market is where you can go and buy the animal right there and they slaughter it in front of you.
Yeah. I've been to plenty of those places in the Middle East. You go buy a goat and they'll slaughter it right there for you and butcher it right in front of you.
Yeah, it's halal how they have to do it in the Middle East.
Jesus Christ. So sorry, you were saying, Nick?
Hey, it's fresh food, man.
That's true. That's true. It's fucking as fresh as it gets, man.
Yeah.
But so it's going to come down to, where did it actually start? And is it a man-made virus or genetically modified, if you want to get all vegan on it? Was it done on purpose to have, to be the 19th variant? When it comes down to that, when we know the actual facts, if we even get to know the facts, who was patient zero? Where was patient zero? They're saying Wuhan, because the wet markets, because someone ate a bat. Get the fuck out of here. With Ozzy ate a bat in 91, or whatever the hell it was. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
It's not because that one bat. How come the billions of other bats around the world haven't done it?
Well, that's genetic mutation. It comes down to chance. If it's 0.1%, if it's 0.01%, and there are a billion bats, yeah, you're only going to have a couple that have it.
Exactly. But is it going to come down to where did it start from? What actually started it?
Yeah.
Once we find that out, and why Wuhan? Why there? What's so strategic about Wuhan that reaches out to the rest of the world so quickly? I'm sure all of us have played that bio-virus game on your phone. You want to wipe out the world, where do you start? The Middle East. You start any place else, it probably isn't going to happen that easily. You want to... I forget the name of the game. If you...
I didn't download it because I'm like...
Pandemic?
I'd be wipe out the world. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, I played that when it came out 8-9 years ago.
Virus Inc.?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't played it, but now I want to.
So, I'm not sure how it's changed now, but if you start anywhere in the Middle East or northeastern Africa, from what I've played it, a couple hundred times, you're going to wipe out the world by doing it starting there. So you go any other place, you start in the U.S., it's going to get squished. You start in Canada, it's going to get squished. You start in Poland, it's going to get squished. You start in Russia, it depends where you start in Russia, it's going to flourish or get crushed. So why is Wuhan so strategic on how this started?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's a question of strategic location or just that's happened to be where they were studying this virus and it got out. You know what I mean? But I mean, with China, I could just surmise that the way they keep a lid on everything, they may have had that longer or further back than December.
Sure.
Right. And the more people have it, the more people are traveling, and the quieter they stay, the longer China stays quiet about it, the chance for it to spread globally just, it's just that much worse. Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if China, let's say, early December, let's just say, for argument's sake, early December is when they saw the first cases of it. They didn't put a stop on anything, say for a week, but it's got an incubation period of 2 weeks. So now we're talking November is when people were contagious, right? And so in November, people are traveling all throughout the country there. They're traveling globally. I mean, it could have spread like mad before anybody ever showed any signs that they had it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That 14.
Because the incubation period is anywhere between 1 and 14 days on this thing.
Yeah, that's the most insidious part. You can't beat that. It's
you can't.
It's like, imagine if a wildfire spread through like a 14-day delay. Like, it'd be like, what do you mean the wildfire's over there? It's like, no, all this could burn down already. You just don't know, and then it's just gonna burst into flames in the next 14 days. That's what this is, and it's yeah. So is Wuhan the epicenter? What is the strategic advantage of it?
Yeah.
And was it just one of the epicenters, and we only know of Wuhan? Maybe you drop it in a couple cities, and it just got noticed in Wuhan, and by the time it spread, it already spread to the other cities organically, so you don't know about those patient zeros. It kind of covered them up. It's like if you dropped a JDAM and dropped a nuke next to it, no one's going to know about the JDAM,
Well, except for the people that were standing there.
At the time.
All right, fun police. Fucking shitting on my dick. All right.
Exactly, it's fun place. You're boring right now.
Yeah.
No.
Well, all right, I'll start stripping, man. But
please no.
I think you did on one of our episodes, man. I think you kept taking your pants off, putting them on, or something. It was weird.
No, I put on. No, I was cold and I had gym shorts on, and at one point I was like, I'm gonna put on sweatpants, but I forgot to say that to Dan. So Dan's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm gonna put some pants on, and he was like.
I'm thinking sitting there doing the no pants dance. Really? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. I wonder how. Yeah. So, who benefits from it? Because right now, I can't pinpoint who is the benefactor. Because the argument can be made really with anyone right now. Like, they're benefiting and they're not. It's just so much. What?
It's the people that are younger, like your generation. Well, you're post ours, but these younger millennials, it's them benefiting from it, because when their parents die off, they get all their money.
So it's a millennial conspiracy.
It's fucking deep. It's way too deep for them to think of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say no. I'm not giving credit to anyone my age. Yeah.
They half of them can't even start a lawnmower, probably, let alone a pandemic.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Yeah. Hey, we're doing a great job at it with spring break. Yeah. You only need to have one smart guy to do it. Yeah.
But when we talk about like who benefits, we're really talking about motive. If it's an intentional release, right?
Yeah.
And so that brings up a lot of questions. I mean, Tommy, you and I talked about this before. I don't know that anybody benefits from releasing a biological agent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, really
ultimately, because unless you release it in an area where you can contain the spread so that it only impacts your intended target, then I can see somebody using that as a weapon, right? But when it's released and it's just indiscriminate and it just spreads, I don't see anybody intentionally doing it. I just have a hard time thinking, hey, that was intentionally released, for some economic or some strategic or political gain, or for some kind of military gain. You know what I mean? Unless you can contain it in a targeted area.
Yeah.
So unlike chemical weapons where it's contained, right? Biological weapons like a virus, man, I don't see how anybody benefits from it unless you're so evil that you don't care how many of your own people you kill.
Yeah.
You have a goal to spread it to the world and weaken the global economy and everything else. I mean, it's just, I know there's evil people in the world, man, but dude, that is just.
Well, you gotta, it's who's defining benefit. We're looking at it from the mindset of relatively sane guys, right? What if this is your manifesto? What if your goals are not sane, are not rational? What if you've got some vision of what if you're just some nut and you're like, humanity needs calling, like it is, God spoke to me in a dream, and it just so happens to be a nut that also has a PhD in bioengineering, right?
Well, there are crazy people in the world,
Yeah.
There are crazy people in the world. It could have been somebody crazy, working at the biological research lab there in Wuhan.
Yeah.
The insider threat thing. I mean, that's always a possibility, right?
Yeah.
Thing is, we just don't know yet. There was a crazy person in Southern California this week who decided to derail a train down in ports of Los Angeles, okay, because the Navy medical ship pulled in there, and this guy was saying, hey, it's not really here to help people with the coronavirus, man. It's part of a government takeover. So he's like, I'm just going to run this train down there. And he blasted through like a concrete barrier, a steel barrier, a chain link fence, across the parking lot, across the gravel lot, and into another fence. This 44-year-old conductor, and he's like, I just want people to know that this ship here is part of a government takeover.
Yeah, Tommy, exactly.
What the fuck?
So there are crazy people in the world, man.
See, guys...
Just today, there's... go ahead, Tommy.
No, keep talking. I got pee.
Oh, you have to go pee.
Sorry.
Fucking feminine bladder.
Dude, he's got the bladder of a gnat.
Yeah, right? Like, I see water, I gotta pee. But no, there's just two people arrested today here in New York somewhere up here. I forget where I just saw it. Arrested by state police because they were in a store coughing and saying that they had COVID-19. Mm-hmm. And doing it on purpose. They recorded themselves doing a video or whatever, Facebook Live, and they got arrested on the spot. Good. And New York State's rolling out now, actually the snitch line, I'm calling it, is if you see people with businesses or out where they're not supposed to be, you report it. The cops will send someone over, and they'll either get a ticket, get fined, or whatever.
So California is doing that, and the place where I have my house in California, the local PD had to put out a public announcement saying, hey, stop calling us because your neighbor's in their front yard. We are not going to respond to that anymore. You know what I mean? So neighbors were freaking out like, oh, wait, it's a shelter-in-place order. What are they doing outside? They're standing outside, get some fresh air so they don't go crazy and have a domestic violence incident. How about that? How about you mind your own business and keep your distance? How about that? The cops are like, hey, we're done responding to this stuff because it's not illegal for somebody to stand outside their house.
Exactly.
It's just a lack of, it's just an ignorance of sorts, amongst American people. I get it, just distance yourself from other people, but do it reasonably and don't be silly about it. You know what I mean? Don't be stupid about it. Just be sensible.
It is. Like, I went out, I'm not going to lie. I ran out of freaking coffee myself, so I was swinging by my old shop where I got furloughed because I asked my doctor if I should be working because my company, I'll say it publicly, my company did not provide me PPE. They did not provide gloves nor a mask. And my company makes the sneeze shields for grocery stores. They make the social distancing spots that you see in grocery stores or supermarkets and other places. The vinyl high-end, like we're a print company. We print everything except for apparel. Mm-hmm. So there's the 6-foot social distancing stickers that you put on the ground so you can measure out 6 feet, put the next one, measure it out, put the next one.
Yeah.
But they just got, and on my old desk, which is the front desk when you walk in my shop, they just put up one of the plexiglass shields there like that you see in supermarkets. One, it's a marketing thing, but I had asked my doctor, should I be working? Because I have lung issues, I have prolapse in my heart, I have a plethora of other things. Should I be working? Dan, I'm sure your lungs are scarred up from Iraq and other places too, from being up flight line with JP8 fumes and diesel fumes from age for...
Oh yeah, and burn pits and everything else, being around bomb sites, after a car bomb went off, and there's all that crap floating around the air, and me smoking pipe tobacco for as long as I have hasn't helped either. So
yes, you do smoke pipe,
but not whole.
But
2 points for Nick.
So I asked my doctor, should I be working? So she gave me the option to work at home or be off for 2 weeks. So I contact my owner, CEO. I'm like, hey, should I be working, or what do you want to do with this? I can work at home. I can do marketing for you. I can do designs for you. I know how to do that stuff. I'm up for it. He goes, no, it's easier just to furlough you so you make more money. That right there explains how a lot of these essential companies that are out there, now mind you, it's a print company. It's still open today. Today is April 2nd. It's still open today because they're essential to construction, which hospitals still need additions and renovations and stuff going on. So that's the only thing they can do right now is healthcare and like law enforcement construction. Anything that's vital to our infrastructure, they can still do.
Yeah.
Putting an addition on your house, no, sorry. Which is that's where the snitch line comes in. Tommy, when you're off pissing again, New York State has a website and a phone number to call if you see a business or someone that's not doing what they're supposed to be. Like a business that's still open when they're not essential. Restaurants, bars are still essential. You can go here in New York, you can go into a bar, you can buy a sixer. You can buy a bottle of vodka. I mean, they're still staying open. They're thinking of small business also. So I got furloughed last week, back to the whole thing, because I didn't have the right PPE. Plus, for my lungs and my safety, I'm taking it pretty serious. Yeah, I went out to Dunkin'. But let me tell you, I wiped that motherfucker down before I even thought about even getting it near my face. If I go somewhere and I need to get groceries, I use my phone and I do Samsung Pay.
Yeah.
So I'm not touching anything.
Yeah.
Then it asks me to put in my PIN code. I'm like, nope, elbow credit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, PIN code.
People's elbow. Yeah, that's.
Get you a stylist, man, and put some hand sanitizer on, and you're good to go.
Or I'll grab the cashier's wrist. You push my numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, liquor stores and stuff are staying open because, there's a fear that if they shut all that down, we might lose people from withdrawal syndromes.
That too. That's huge.
Raven Rock by Garrett Graff. Plug it every episode. In the nuclear bunkers, they have alcohol in case there's an alcoholic president, vice president, cabinet member, or senator. They have alcohol so they can wean them off.
Yeah.
In case of
and
nuclear.
to keep people suppressed too.
Yeah. Yeah. But not only that, dude, you kind of got to keep alcohol illegal right now, right? Hey.
Yeah.
It's not just self-isolation. It's also keep the fuck calm, right? Because if everyone flips out, that's more dangerous.
I drank more in the last week than I have the last 6 months.
Yeah. I'm sure most people have, man. Dude, that's why I've done a podcast every day. To just keep myself busy. Because to do a podcast, I gotta get a good night's sleep and exercise beforehand. So I got the whole thing set up where I'm just staying busy. Because if I'm not staying busy, I'm gonna start to lose my mind, and that is not advantageous to everyone. What do you say, Nick?
Your mind because you can't count properly.
Yes, I can. What do you mean?
Oh, that's right. This is number 69.
Yeah, this is episode 69. Yeah.
And you already posted number 70.
Yeah, I posted 70 yesterday because Nick wanted it to be 69, so I decided to hold off today. Why are you shaking?
You should have waited to post the other one. Should have waited.
Yeah.
I know, exactly, right?
I didn't realize it was already up. Yeah.
You guys crack me up, man.
Yeah. How? So.
By the way, Dan, with Big Sexy said, "Cut your hair, you fucking hippie."
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Well, he's just jealous because, he got stuck in a stop loss, man, and can't join it.
Dude, that shit was funny, right? I'm like, what the fuck's going on? There's something going on. Why are they stopping you? So our buddy, Big Sexy, we'll just give his name at that.
Yeah.
He's a chief master sergeant. He's about to retire in July. And
is he a chief? Did he make chief or is he? No, he's a senior.
No, he's a chief.
Is he?
Yeah.
I thought he didn't make chief.
No, he's a chief.
Shout out Big Sexy.
Then, dude, he should just stay for 30 anyways, man.
Well, he's probably gonna now.
What's the benefit of 30 over 20?
75% of your base pay the rest of your life.
When what is 20?
50.
Ooh.
Yeah, and he's at 25, give or take.
Oh. Yeah, 24, 25, somewhere in there.
Yeah. I'm at, if I was still on, I'd be at 19 right now.
Yeah, he came in a year or two behind me, and I walked out the door at 26 and a half years.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But, so he had his paperwork all set up, Tommy. He's all set to go. Like, he sent us a text message, hey, I'm going to retire in July. You want to come down to my retirement in Tampa in July? We're like, no. It's fucking Tampa in July. Like, look at us. We're fat. We're bearded. We exercise is us getting a fucking beer from the fridge and running our mouths.
Yeah.
But like,
How about that?
Yeah. So then all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, I'm stop loss. I can't retire if I tried to." Like, why? Like, what the hell's going on? You know, that was my first question. Was like, you're a chief, past 20 years, about to put in your paperwork, and you have a date. Why are they stopping you? What's going on? This was what, January, Dan?
Oh.
Yep.
And now, yeah.
Now
here
you
we are.
Well, so the justification that I heard, and I haven't vetted this, but I did get it from a source who has reported accurately in the past, that he actually had a service commitment for the assignment that he's on. And his career field wouldn't let him go until he fulfills that service commitment. So, Tommy, for folks that don't understand what that means, it means if the Air Force or the military in general wants to reassign you to another base, a lot of times it comes with strings attached. And those strings are like, look, you have to stay on for another 2 or 3 years for us to move you into this job, right? Or to get this promotion. You know what I mean? You need to give us this time back. And so I think that the time frame he was looking to retire in was under that, and his career field manager wouldn't give him a waiver. Well, now I don't see him giving anybody waivers until he sorts this out, because the DOD just came up on comms and says, hey, we're looking to recall 1 million service members. 1 million.
When did they say that?
It happened last week. And people are already getting emails through, the reserves, at least in the Air Force side, asking for voluntary recalls right now to come back and work in the medical community. So I actually started lobbying. I'm like, hey, I know that there's a lot of first sergeants out there in the Air Force who came out of the medical community who are going to have to go back to that to help fight the COVID, which means there's going to be vacancies in the first sergeant realm. I was a first sergeant for 8 years, dude. I'll come back for 2 more years, and fill that void until it all sells, because I look at it this way, right? That would give me another 5% of my retirement pay at the end of that 2 years.
Fuck yeah.
So heck yeah, why not do it, right?
Yeah, why the fuck not? Yeah.
But I haven't gotten anything back, because I think what they did is they went to the VA and go, hey, what's this guy's disability rating? Yeah, we're not going to take him.
Yeah, that's why I have zero fucks. Granted, I would go back in a second, not even lying, Tommy. I'll go back in a second and do it. Whether it was me being a mechanic again, yeah, it was fun at times, but I'll go back and do it. Go back and fly. I got medically disqualified from flying, so I'll never fly again, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But because I took methotrexate, that's why. That's why I got medically disqualified, which is for RA.
Yeah.
And I took that, they're like, disqualified forever.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I'm like, you fucking told me to take it. They're like, yeah, but we forgot to tell you you'll be medically disqualified forever.
Why is that?
Yeah. Let's not offer an alternative.
Yeah.
Whatever.
With methotrexate, it's really harsh on your liver and kidneys, which already have kidney issues. And it causes different types of psychosis. So when I retired, moved back here in New York, and started using the VA stuff, I was sitting beside myself. I felt like I was sitting next to me.
Dissociation.
It was, my ex-wife's like, what's the matter with you? I'm like, yeah, screw these drugs, I'm not taking them anymore.
Yeah. Man.
But anywho, like I said, I'll go back in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
How has all of this affected, do you think, military operations overseas? Because that stuff can never stop, but at the same time, it's like everyone's quarantined. It's almost like.
So, Dan, were you stationed in England? You're at the Heath, weren't you?
I was at Milden Hall.
Milden Hall. So over at the Heath, that no nukes, all that shit. So Tommy, at one of the bases in England, certified to have nukes. There was protests Thursday, Friday, Saturday, almost every week I was there from 02 to 04. This one lady, she had TB, she had everything, and she would spit on SP, security police, security forces. Yeah, exactly. And everyone knew who she was. They see her, they would freaking beanbag her, take her away, and do it again the next week. So at base I was at, they're pretty good on being able to self-contain, honestly, because it's a nuclear base, or it used to be. So everything's already heightened security. Everything's already pretty tight. So they're pretty good, but you have a lot of people that live off base in the communities. That's where you bring it on to base. Unfortunately.
Yeah. The places where I think is a little tighter is probably your deployed locations, places in Iraq, Afghanistan, Africa, Jordan, wherever, where you don't have family members there, you're in a combat environment, so it's easier to self-contain and distance yourself. Where you have problems in those countries is we have to work with host nation partners and, third country nationals coming on doing work who can be potential sources to bring that virus in. So if you're looking at a place like, say, Iraq, we're up in Balad, maybe you got 3,000 people assigned there working. I don't know what the numbers are these days, but let's just use that for argument's sake. And you got one third country national that comes in to pump out the outhouses, right, and start spreading it. I mean, those 3,000 people can go down quick.
Yeah.
Very quickly. But if they stop all of that kind of services, right, and prevent those people from coming on, they can continue operations as long as they need to with relatively being isolated from this virus. You know what I mean? But we saw the military take on a lot of decontamination roles with the Ebola breakout in Africa. We saw them do it with aircraft coming from areas where the Zika virus, was an issue. So I worked at headquarters for Air Mobility Command for a while when that was happening. And so all of our aircraft that were coming back from areas that had, the Zika issue with mosquitoes and everything, before that air crew could leave the tarmac, once that plane landed, they had to decontaminate the entire plane and all the personnel. So they had ways to do that. I don't think all our civilian carriers are doing things to that extent, but the military is really good about that kind of stuff. I mean, we work and train for biological and chemical environments all the time.
Yeah.
So
weapons, yeah.
Yeah, NBC training.
Yeah.
So
now with that, Tommy, the actual numbers, if they're smart, which they already fucked up once, and I've made some comments to people, like which aircraft carrier right now has the 5,000 people on it, and they have 20 or 80 people sick with it. You don't give out those numbers. You don't say an aircraft carrier is down because people have coronavirus. You don't say that.
No, you keep poker face.
But they have. They just did it yesterday and the day before.
Yeah.
I think the Roosevelt has...
stupid as shit.
Yeah. You don't say that it's down.
I'm not even military, and I know that you keep a poker face.
Yeah, it's psyops too,
yeah.
I keep it quiet. Or do you put it out there so people will now try to attack a little bit more so you know who may be behind it?
Okay, yeah. Throw out some false numbers, see if they start prodding. Yeah, I could see that. So, how do you think in the future that this is going to... Do you think we're going to have... Let's look at all the effects of 9/11. What lingering effects are we going to see, aside from, the memes?
With education. Education's going to prove that not only higher institutions, colleges, universities, doctorate level stuff, but also high school and grade schools can do it at home.
Yeah. This has been a show for a lot of that.
I mean, my best friend growing up is the principal or the superintendent of my hometown school. He just put out a video, really, really cool. Him and all the teachers saying thank you for doing your work at home. We're still here for you. You need anything, reach out to us, so on and so forth. It was a great video, but kids are still doing their homework. Kids still have their homework to do. Yeah, it's harder on the parents, the ones that are essential, still going to work. But this is proving that they don't have to physically be in school to learn.
Well, unless in LA County where 15,000 students have failed to report in on their Blackboard.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Yeah, 15,000 students in LA County have not reported in for school, via the internet. So that's becoming an issue for them. But I do agree with you, Nick, that things like distance learning, telecommuting, I mean, that's going to be a new way of really conducting commerce and stuff, right? Think about it. If you're a business that can allow your folks to work from home, you can reduce your overhead costs of having brick and mortar buildings for them to work in. Efficiency can increase. They just have to learn new collaboration tools. Zoom is one of those companies whose stock is like going through the market, going through the roof right now.
Shout out Zoom. Used it yesterday for the first time.
Because everybody is going to those types of collaboration tools to get work done. Literally, while we've been sitting here doing this cast, I'd been in touch with a buddy of mine in California. We're working on some things, and he works for the school district. And I had to bail out on a call with him earlier today because he got called into a Zoom meeting to discuss stuff for the school district. You know what I mean? And this is a school district who has never done that kind of stuff ever. Yeah. So I think it's going to open up some new markets and some new ways of thinking about conducting business, for sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
homeschooling may become the new norm.
It could. I mean, dude, I'm in online graphic design courses and it happened since August. If you just looked at it from my point of view, you wouldn't even know coronavirus happened because it literally has not missed a beat aside from the occasional message from the professor just like, hey, everyone stay safe. It's just we haven't missed a beat. And
schools districts that don't have things like that, backup systems in place like that, like where my brother is a school teacher. I know you did a cast with him recently. So he was contacted the other day by his boss, district or whatever, saying, hey, we need to know how you're staying in touch with students while they're at home right now. But the school district hasn't given the teachers any kind of tool sets to be able to reach out to them. So there's no set standard for them. So my brother's going, hey, do we need to call the students every day? Do I need to email them? Like, what do you want me to do? You don't even have like a Blackboard or something set up where the kids can connect online and we can do a class while they're at home. So some schools are doing that great. Others in rural areas, Tennessee, right? Some of these areas don't have that. So it's kind of, I don't know, man. I mean, we definitely need to change the way we're doing stuff. Huh?
It's hard. It's difficult.
Yeah.
In hospitals. Yeah, there's a lot of downtime in hospitals. I'm absolutely not going to bash most of I can't say quite a bit of my family's in healthcare of some sort, or they have been. Like my aunt has worked, was she 82 now? 81? And she just retired like 5 years ago. For like the fourth time retiring. Like she's ill right now, and it's shitty, but she worked nonstop. So I'm not going to bash on it a little bit. Same as us in the military. And anything you've done, Tommy, you sit around in a classroom, you're waiting for your professor to show up, back when you're in school, what'd you do? You played fucking grab ass and joked around and goofed around a lot, as we did in the military and we do right now. We're having serious talks and having, fun talks. Around the hospital, when there's stuff not going on, same thing goes on. So this is going to be an increase in security and the way hospitals operate, same as actually the Spanish flu in 1918.
Mm-hmm.
Same as, a lot of our medical comes from triage that we do in the military and what the doctors have learned and R&D and developing new stuff. Same thing's going to happen with our healthcare system. This is showing that our healthcare system here in the U.S. sucks. It's a lot better than a lot of other countries, don't get me wrong, but it sucks.
Yeah, I think it's highlighting the fact that we're ill-equipped to deal with the pandemic. It goes back to, hey, hold a penny, hold 1,000 pennies thing, right? I think there's going to be some major lessons learned out of this pandemic to where our country is going to be in a much better position 6 months, a year from now, to be able to tackle and deal with these issues, so long as our country doesn't get that same institutional amnesia that they got after 9/11. After 9/11, our country's rallying around our military and our government is like, yeah, go get these terrorists and stuff like that. And then, a year or two later, like 9/11, what was that? Some people are like, what was that? Why are we still involved in the Middle East? What are we doing over there? As long as our country learns its lessons from this and prepares for a secondary outbreak. That's being the idea that's being tossed around right now on the Beltway that, hey, this fall we could see a resurgence of this and it could be worse. But maybe better prepared. Huh?
That people that have had it and they're recovered, they've gotten it again.
Yeah.
I
think that we'll be way better prepared, but what's the cost going to be for not being prepared this time?
Well, it's going to be great. I mean, I think it was Nick that might have been you. One of you guys said it, but it's like safety guidelines are written in blood, and it's like there's truth to that. So do you think we're going to start seeing like strategic stockpiling? Like, hey, we gotta just have somewhere. You gotta take one of the million bunkers we got. Hey, one of them, you gotta just have like 100 million ventilators, or it might not be ventilators next time. What are just some of the basic healthcare things, that it might be? I don't know what it would be. Disinfectant.
So I think there's a balance there, right? So yes, we need to have a surplus to surge.
Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, our supply chain in manufacturing needs to be done at home, so that we can make a quicker shift to produce the PPE and medications and everything else we need here locally, and not have to rely on the Chinese or anybody else to provide that to us.
That's what I mean. Is keeping a stockpile in the U.S. I don't mean keeping a stockpile on back order. I mean, like...
No. What I'm saying is, you should have a stockpile to be able to surge for a set amount of time, whether that's 30, 60, or 90 days. Whatever it takes to get the production and supply chain running, that's the surplus that we should have on hand. It goes back to the same type of contingency planning that Nick and I have been involved in for years in the military. I mean, you do that. We have WRM, war readiness materials that are staged. So if we've got to go conduct war, we can do it for a set amount of time to allow the supply chain to start catching up and resupply us. So we have that stuff stored, strategically placed around the world, that's ready access to us at any given time. I know you were probably, Nick, custodian for some of that stuff, just like I was in the past, where, we're going in every quarter and inventory and everything. And if there's anything expired, okay, then reorder, resupply, make sure those kits are ready to go. So if the next war kicks off, we can surge and make it happen. I think that's a smart thing to do with food supplies, with medical supplies, with water supplies, with petroleum, products and stuff like that, oil, gasoline, all that kind of thing. That's why we have an oil reserve in the country. So if the world shut us off, we can keep the engines running. But because we've seen such a rush on all this medical stuff and the concerns with people hoarding, PPE and stuff like that, those who saw this coming went and gathered all that stuff up ahead of time, got it. It goes back to what the parable of the ant and the grasshopper, right? The ant all year long is working to make provisions for the winter, and the grasshopper's just living his life. And when winter comes around, he has no food. He's like, "Hey, ants, will you help? Give me some food." And they're like, "You haven't done anything to prepare. Go pound sand and." The grasshopper dies.
Yeah.
So we need to be like the ants, man.
Yeah.
We need to be like the ants.
Yeah. Do you think...
With JP's going to try to punch on.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Here, I'll add him. Do you think that we're going to see like a jump in what's his username?
I don't know.
Tell him to ask her. Do you think we're going to see a jump in like nuclear power? Why worry about oil reserves and oil refineries when we can just, start constructing them now?
Well, there's all kinds of different alternatives for power. You've got hydroelectric, you've got wave-driven, you've got wind turbines, you got solar, you got coal, you got oil, you got nuclear. I mean, the thing we got to do in this country is get past some of the environmental restrictions to make that happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need to cut through some of that red tape.
Which coronavirus did.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, dude, but nuclear energy, the guy I had on the other day that worked at a nuclear reactor or a nuclear power plant operator.
Baby. What's up? Allah Akbar, motherfucker.
I was doing fucking lawn work, dude. Tommy, you never told me to confirm for today, man. I would have been here.
I did too. I will pull up the text. You never responded, so you're doing it next Friday as well. I'm trying to, but yeah, the guy I had. Hey, Dan, do you know JP?
Nope.
All right. Well, very rude of
What's
you
up,
to not
man? What's up,
introduce
man?
you.
Dan, how you doing?
JP
Nice to meet
introduced me to Nick. Nick introduced me to you. So full
So-
circle.
So it all started with JP.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's one big incestuous gangbang. But yeah, so
And with JP was one of my MCs for flying. They're mission intelligence coordinators. Well, they changed their name to Mix. Yes, we call them Mix.
I wasn't a Mick. I was a SO. Yeah.
You're MC for me numerous times.
No, I never sat MC. Mm-mm.
I thought you did.
I was an intelligence analyst after that, but never.
Oh, that's right. You went from the 1-1 to 1-0, right?
No, I was still 1-1. I still did imagery intelligence, and that's all I've been doing ever since I left Canon. So.
Oh no shit! My bad.
Nick and I were interrogators together.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
yeah,
Fun time.
I'm pretty cool.
Miss those days.
I'm pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm pretty cool too.
Tommy's just bringing us all together.
That flag's pretty cool right behind you,
Yeah,
bro.
thanks, bud. Oh yeah, you haven't been on in a while. Yeah, I cleaned up my I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now. We were talking about
You're set up.
Yeah, we're talking about nuclear energy after coronavirus. Dude, the guy I had on the other day that was a nuclear power plant operator said, I forget what the number was, but let's just say a gigawatt. It was, to have a gigawatt of energy from a coal-fired power plant, you need 80 train cars of coal per day. To have that same power produced by a nuclear power plant, you need half a train car of uranium per year. It's not comparable. It's not. Yeah.
Okay, so with that, there's the waste. JP, were you still in New Mexico in 20?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, no, I left at
I'm gonna go get
the beginning of 2011. But I know exactly what you're talking about with Carlsbad Caverns.
Yeah. So then Caverns is south of Roswell, and it's a storage facility for nuclear depleted waste. And what they're supposed to do is encase in 50-gallon drums depleted radioactive materials and inorganic kitty litter, so man-made kitty litter. All right, they'll keep it from still being able to produce fusion or fission or expel off of molecules. So someone messed up.
Lead line those cans?
No. But it's just packed full of kitty litter, miles down in the ground, packed full of God knows what else, right? Until they find a feasible way to properly dispose of it or reuse it. So I'm all for nuclear power. I'm not bashing it. I'm all for any types of power that's clean, because nuclear is way cleaner than coal or anything else that's burning, or combustion. So they used organic kitty litter by accident. By doing that, the molecules from the radioactive material actually started to fuse together and made a ginormous explosion, nuclear explosion underground, and the cloud blew up and left Carlsbad Caverns, made a northwest streak towards the Large Array or the Sandia Mountains, and then peeked back and went right over Cannon Air Force Base, New Mexico, and then the rest of the United States. It's like, we didn't hear anything about it until probably about 2 weeks after the fact. Cannon did nothing about it. I reached out to the wing commander who I worked for. I'm like, hey, you guys going to do anything about this? He's like, what are you talking about? He didn't even know about it.
Well, obviously he wasn't read into that program, right?
It was on the fucking news that it exploded. It was all over the news. Like, how are we going to contain this? What's the fallout of it? What's going on with it? There was nothing done.
I had no idea that that whole thing transpired, it exploded and stuff. All I remember seeing is some dude from the Weather Operations Center. He was pulling it up and just showing me the cloud of nuclear radiation. I was like, oh, that's fucking cool.
It was right over Cannon. It was oh man, actually Portales and Cannon.
What the fuck did I?
So I wonder if those people are going to be immune to the COVID-19, but their spawn are going to have web feet and gills.
We'll see. Actually, I did go through the risk, which is SEAL Team 6 of the VA for my lungs and blood and all that down in New Jersey. And I brought this up. They did the research. They're like, there's no known fallout from it. And if those molecules hit you, you would know it. You would have had cancer by now.
Sounds good.
I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Then I guess I'm good. But that's with Harley died shortly after that, about a year after that. JP, my dog.
Yeah, man, your dog was cool as shit.
Yeah.
After growing a third ball on his chin, huh?
Actually, it was on his chest. He had a big old growth on his chest. Kind of fucked up, Dan.
I couldn't remember where he told me that growth was. I just thought you said it was his chin. So,
Jesus Christ.
is it too soon? Still too soon?
No, it's all right.
Too
Fucking
soon.
bald chinian. JP, what's going on, man? How the fuck you been?
I've been, dude. Just I'm still working. My squadron commander refuses to close down the building
Where's this at? You don't mind me asking.
at Langley Air Force Base. So we haven't had any confirmed COVID-19 infections on base yet. However, it's a joint base with Fort Eustis, and Fort Eustis, they've had 2 deaths already. So a lot of us are thinking, it's in the community, we should probably take precautions. And the only precautions that they've taken is optical precautions. Like, they have one entry point into the building. They have us, wipe down our hands. And I work 24/7 ops. I'm currently on a night shift. So, come 6 o'clock when the normal workday is gone, no one gives a shit anymore. So
Jesus.
and they're hounding everybody to wash their hands. Like, what are you gonna do when people come here at night and they don't give a shit? Like, what?
They've got one confirmed case at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, as well. So my son is stationed there with 5th Group, and apparently they were waiting on results from 200 more suspected cases out of there.
Wow.
So,
Jesus.
yeah.
It essentially doubles like every 48 hours the containment. So
Are you still flying, JP?
no, I'm not flying. I'm just doing one-on-one shit, man.
Alright.
Yeah.
No, are they like sanitizing GCSs? And I'm sure they are after the sortie's done. But are they doing it between shifts?
Well, we're not like, it's not like it was at a Cannon where the intel group was right there. It's just one big intelligence ops floor, and it's all a bunch of computer desks and workstations. And no, they're not doing shit. So we're all just sitting here and then they told us the other day, we can't wear, face masks to cover ourselves, within 2 days, within a 24-hour period, they told us, hey, you can't wear face masks. Also, you must be, it's like mandatory that you have to be washing your hands. So it's kind of like self-defeating, because in my head, I'm thinking, well, if you're telling us that we all need to be washing our hands, that means people aren't fucking doing it, which means that we should probably be wearing face masks. So I don't
So are you still kind of the same intel setup where the screeners are all together?
Yeah.
Doing that, or are you guys spaced apart?
No, we're pretty close together. So yeah.
Okay, Dan. So JP, it's been 5 years for me. So the way it's set up is that they have one screener staring at the screen for X amount of time, calling out the stuff that he or she sees or shims or whatever the fuck that you guys do now. Yeah. And then the person next to him is writing the stuff down. Another person's doing Merc chats, instant messaging. Yep. But you're sitting around top of each other staring at a screen.
Yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm.
So even wearing a mask, JP, even if you have an N95 mask on, or you have your sapper helmet that's pressurized air, or even Mob 4, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, I know.
If you're that close, you're going to be that close.
Yep. So there's really nothing that we can do. Really what they should do is close down the building and hand off operations to somewhere else, but they're not going to do that. So
to who? Don't. Yeah, exactly.
I get it.
Right now, anyways, on this forum.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Dumb question.
Welcome to State Secret Cast.
It's unprecedented, but I feel like there's different avenues.
There's a Chinaman listening in right now. Keep going. Come on.
Yeah.
Dude, have you seen some of that shit about the Chinese people buying up all the N95 masks here in the States and stuff, and flaunting it on Twitter and shit?
Yeah.
It's the new flex.
I fucking love Chinese food.
So, JP, why don't we just... maybe a little brash here, but at what point do we just drop a hydrogen bomb on Wuhan?
Jesus. Tommy just got radical.
You're fucking faster for me, dude.
Yeah.
You know, like we should have done it by now, honestly. Like, me and Nick are friends on Facebook, so I see a lot of stuff that he's posting, and I'm right in that ballpark with you, Nick. I think this was. I can't prove it, you know, and I might be wrong.
Fuck
but
that. We don't
personally,
need facts.
I think it was on purpose. It was really.
We don't need facts, man. This is my podcast. We can do whatever the fuck we want. Yeah, it was a Chinese bioweapon. Hey, man, Dale thinks it was. Dale's in Delta. Dale's in the CIA, and he's like, "Yeah, man, it doesn't surprise me at all." He's like, "That's what I think it is." So, I mean, yeah, dude, it's but we were talking about that. No one is apparent. It's not apparent yet who is benefiting. You could argue that China did it, and it's that their benefit isn't apparent, isn't glowing. But what it could be is, hey, if we can't win the trade war, no one can. And
well, their trade's going to ramp back up too as soon as this is dead and gone. So they're going to be they're going to be in the clear because I mean they manufacture most of like the medical equipment and medicines and whatnot in the world. I think if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So I mean. Once this finishes up and runs its course, all the other countries, look at Italy right now. They are hurting, and a lot of people are saying, we're about 2 weeks behind Italy. And once China, gets over the hump, so to speak, they're gonna be ramping back up production, and then they're gonna be coming back to save everybody from the shit that they fucking caused. So yeah,
that's one thing I've thought is like, what better way to improve global image of your country that everyone writes off as what it is, a goddamn totalitarian cyber dictatorship. What better way to improve, good PR, release the disease, and then here we are with our ships full of N95 masks for everyone, right?
Yeah, that they're rubbing their feet on and coughing on.
Yeah, I mean, it's some like abusive, it's like some abusive spouse shit. Like that's what they're doing. So, do you think that there is going to be any change in any supply chains? Do you think anyone in the world is going to be like, we can't be dependent? Hi, Kitty. Do you think anyone's going to be like, we can't be dependent on China anymore? Or do you think it's going to be, as soon as life returns to normal, it's just going to be back like, boom, head in the sand, like everything's normal, like everything's
I'll tell you, I don't care about any other country at this point. I care about us not being dependent on China for any of that shit.
Yeah.
I'm in that boat.
About anyone else.
Yeah.
Like, at what point are we going to ramp up everything to where we are self-sufficient? That if at any point we could close every border and commerce would grind to a halt, but we wouldn't be wanting or needing from other countries. I hate dependency in any form because it's instantaneous victimhood. Like,
okay, so with us, we kind of talk conspiracies a little bit on stuff that we know and we've experienced. What if this is all done on purpose?
Yeah, that's what we're on.
Trump is a really, really smart businessman. He's been bankrupt how many times and he keeps bouncing back? What if this is to bring everything back home?
Are you saying like Trump had a hand in this?
Yeah.
Like, what if?
What if it's a U.S. weapon?
Yeah, or Obama, or
yeah.
It's a U.S.
Or Soros, all those douchebags.
It could very well be
this
U.S.
is to bring everything back home. Yeah, it's going to wipe out some people. Yeah, it sucks, Dan, as you said. Wiping our own people and putting the blame on people fucking bats. This actually making our country huge and great. Even better than it was.
Yeah, I mean, hey man, in Hiroshima.
I'm not trying to put it on Trump. I'm saying what.
No, sure. Could it be of the U.S. The U.S. as a whole?
Cuomo's doing all his bullshit.
Yeah, no.
Fredo's going to run for president. So
Cuomo with his fucking nipple piercings. You guys see that shit?
Let's try to slip it somewhere in there, JP. I've been trying to plan an hour and a half.
Hey, man, I don't want you to feel like you need to try to slip that stuff in here. On this podcast, you can just out and say it. Be like, anyway, so Cuomo's got nipple piercings. Like, I don't give a fuck, man. There's no segue. No, I've heard of it, but it's kind of funny because it makes me think of Trump's tweet years and years ago of that congressman who was wearing a blue shirt, and his nipples were coming through, and he was giving. This was way before Trump was president, and it was Barney Frank, and Trump tweeted back when he was just Trump. He tweeted, he was like, Barney Frank talking to the Senate today, nipples protruding, very disrespectful. It's my favorite Trump tweet of all time. It's Barney Frank testifying today, dash, nipples protruding, dash, very disrespectful.
You guys crack me up, man.
Yeah, dude. It's what?
Looking forward to there it is. See it?
Jesus, man.
Right?
Jesus. So God damn, man. God damn.
Dan's gonna fucking piss himself.
God damn, man. That's
On that note, I think I do need to go relieve myself. I'll be right back.
As I just did. I don't know if I'm passing another kidney stone or what, but I'm pissing a lot of blood.
What?
Dan's like, gotta listen now.
Yeah.
No, I've
like curiosity, but not even got my attention.
Well, I mean, I've passed over 35 kidney stones.
Do you keep them?
I name them.
Do you thread some string through them? Or are you gonna make a necklace?
Put them in a bottle with some formaldehyde.
No, I was gonna say put them in a necklace, like a headhunter necklace.
I sent them to my
legal, so I don't.
All right.
I'll be right.
I sent them to my enemies, but like, hey, I hope you get these.
It's your ultimate flex. Just grind them up and snort them.
My dick bullets, that's fucked up.
My dick bullets, yeah. Cock crystals.
A couple days ago, my both sides were hurt. I slept wrong on the couch, and yeah, it happens. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Doesn't stop me.
Jesus Christ, dude, that guy's actually got what's the picture from? Where is he?
He was briefing his daily brief that he does.
Okay, so there's no winning for him. So it's either he has nipple piercings or he's just really turned on at the coronavirus briefings.
But on both sides, when he's walking, see him clear as day. You know.
Oh, they're actually rings. Because that picture I could argue is just maybe he's just cold. He's got heart in it.
Go Google Cuomo nipple rings.
I'm really all right.
Do it, man.
Do it now. Do it now, bro. All the guys are doing it. Come on, man. Yeah, dude. But yeah, there's really no winning with that. So it's either he's got nipple rings or it's you're turned on at COVID conferences. Yeah. It's one or the other.
Check out Dan's CPAP.
Is that what that is? I thought it was a penis pump.
It's Dan. He doesn't need one that big.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, dude. Yeah, man. But Dan and I have been bringing that up since like January, not the penis pump. The coronavirus. Could it be a bioweapon? And whose is it? Could it be ours? Because if our conclusion is it's China, well then that would be a successful intel operation by the U.S. to make you think it was someone else. So if it's if the surface level clues point to it being China, well, then I imagine it would probably be something deeper than that because they're not, right? Or am I giving the intel? Yeah. So could it be U.S.? Bring everyone home. Get the entire world on board with fuck China, right?
Yeah. Or our last conversation where I said Chinese, attacking our economy, but they also want to take out their elderly people that are living off the government.
Yeah.
They also hate Muslims.
They do.
And huge population.
Yeah, Hong Kong. Yeah, that's the biggest one, Hong Kong.
Yep. Yeah, there's the camps over in China where they put the Muslims and beat the brakes off them so they're not Muslims anymore.
Yeah.
So how do you eradicate it from around the world?
Yeah.
Who knows? With time will tell, maybe.
The crazy thing about like bioengineering and genetics is like you can go so in depth with it now. You can go in and find genes that only people of certain races have, but it might not even be apparent, like their pigment. It could just be something that is like a deleterious gene. Like it doesn't matter that we don't use it. But the idea is like there could now be master race megalomaniacs that could engineer bioweapons that only take out people of a certain race. So, yeah. So, but this doesn't seem to be doing that. So see, at the end of Contagion, they show how it starts. And it's literally a bat eating something and it falls. And then it goes into this building and it's upside down feeding, and it drops some of its food and it falls, and it just happens to be in like a livestock pen and drops it onto a pig.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
literally
with
that's
pigs,
how it starts, with a bat. So, JP, have you seen Contagion?
Dude, I literally just watched it like 2 fucking nights
Yeah,
ago.
I watched it last night, man. It's the number one rented movie right now on YouTube. But
Yeah.
dude, how fucking they goddamn predicted it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
maybe they didn't predict it. Maybe that's what a pandemic would be, and I don't know.
Or they're doing this saying it came from a bat so people can understand it.
Do what?
Saying that the coronavirus came from a person eating a bat in Wuhan. So we understand it because it's been in the movies.
No, that's stupid.
And it's feasible. Really?
Like, you're saying like it's a psyop thing?
Social conditioning, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, have any of you guys seen Arrival?
I mean, if you really want to go down the conspiracy theorist route, you could say that this was all designed to create more interest in the movie Contagion, so they can sell more subscriptions on Netflix and stuff. Just saying.
Hardcore guerrilla marketing.
Tiger King owns Netflix right now. Okay.
It's all guerrilla advertising operation.
You had to bring up Tiger King, so I'm staying with my son right now. My wife and everybody, they're all watching it last night.
My parents are watching it. They're obsessed with it. I don't even know what the fuck it is.
It's a train wreck.
Yeah.
It's literally a freaking train wreck, man. I mean, it's like you don't want to watch it, but you can't stop.
Is it like the train wreck in California? JP, did you hear about this? Dan, tell them about the fucking train.
Hey JP, so this guy, this conductor down in ports of Los Angeles on a train decided that he was going to derail the train to make a statement that the U.S. Navy ship there that's there, the medical ship that's there for help, is really there as part of a government takeover, right? So this guy goes full throttle, derails the train, smashes through a concrete barrier, steel barrier, a fence, a parking lot, a gravel lot, and another fence, just to make the statement that, it's a government takeover. They're not really here to help with the COVID-19. You know what I mean? It was all over the news this morning on Fox News. It's great.
How the fuck is that making a statement? I'm sorry, not to cut you off. How the fuck is that making a statement against?
You could have just made a tweet, man.
Hey, think about it, though, right? The guy got the attention of the media.
Hey, we're talking about.
It's like, I made my statement.
Yeah.
So being brought up on charges for that. He basically confessed. He did it intentionally to 2 different law enforcement agencies. So he's like, yeah, of course I did.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't a fucking accident.
Oh, man.
At what point are you like halfway through the derailing and you're like, oh man, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for this? So he had to still think it through and be like, do I stick with my story or do I just go with negligence?
How do you survive a derailing that you caused that it takes 250 yards for the train to stop moving?
Yeah, who's that guy? We need to be
45 miles an hour, went through the end of the tracks, and kept on ghost riding that son of a bitch. Like, I'll be fucking hammering the horn, like, yeah, motherfuckers.
Yeah, but you got to think though. So this wasn't like a car crash where it was an over.
Hey, so when I was stationed in LA, when I was stationed down there with the Air Force, I lived on Fort MacArthur, and the base housing there overlooks ports of Los Angeles. And so I was having flashbacks to that today. When I was reading that news report, I'm like, man, I could see those tracks from the house I used to live in. I'm like, if I was there now, not working, I'd be out there barbecuing and like watching all that mayhem take place. I'd be out there like filming it. You know what I mean?
So, but you got to think. So, this didn't just happen. This was. It takes a while for a train to stop. So, you got to think.
250 yards.
Yeah. So this guy had a lot of time to think. Wait, should I just say negligence? Should I just go with negligence and just get fired? No, he's stuck with it. This all happened, fucking finished, probably bruised his eyebrow on the front and was like, I'm sticking with it. Like,
he's like, I'm making my
He's like, okay, I could be fired or go to jail. And he's like,
fuck, I wish I hit 60 miles an hour instead of 44.
Yeah, man. So, I wrote this down earlier. Do you think that if it keeps getting worse, do you think that do you think that semi-trucks, they'll just start putting them in convoys, make them military convoys? Just throw some Hummers in the front? You guys all...
I don't know, man. Because I don't think we're going to see Americans like set roadblocks and jack in semi-trucks.
That's what Dale said he would do.
Well, of course, but that's Dale, and if it came down to it, I'm sure we'd be helping Dale.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh no. If it comes down to it, yeah, no, we're all meeting up. We got Dale. Dale said some of his Delta buddies would help. So no, we got a team.
I mean, there's a certain strategy in that. At the same time, I don't think we're going to see that. From what I've seen, traveling from California out to the Midwest, over the last couple of weeks and being out here, I've actually seen Americans rally more to support each other than I have to become violent. You know what I mean? And if you look like places like Chicago, where the homicide rates dropped 70% in 1 week, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody's staying home and chilling out and stuff. It's like, well, wait a minute, man. I mean, I think I'm starting to have some renewed hope in the American.
Sure.
Like,
yeah. I mean, there can be a beautiful silver lining in this. Like, I like to make all the apocalyptic memes because it's funny, but there can absolutely be a silver lining in this. I don't entirely know what it is. At the very least, there's an undeniable silver lining. How great is it going to be when it's over and you just fucking go to the store again? Shit that you take for advantage, that's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
But could there be a greater silver lining? I don't know. Do you think people in general are going to be more prepared? Or
I don't
stick
think
their
so.
head in the sand?
I think it goes back to the whole goldfish mindset, the institutional amnesia that Americans typically have.
Yeah.
They need to learn to be more prepared, more self-resilient, but the bulk of America is not, man.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you think in the future we're going to start having like response teams to virus outbreaks? But I mean, literally, no, I mean like literally, like I don't mean in like a.
You're talking medical response teams?
Not quite. I don't mean like an altruistic way. I mean like, let's say we hear about some Wuhan shit. Do you think we're going to have some black teams go in there and be like, this thing isn't breaking out of this town? With or without this nation's help,
That'd be legit as fuck.
Sending Dale and the boys. Yeah, dude. Do some plausible deniability. I mean, but think about it, dude. How many trillions of dollars? So let's not even go into like the human aspect of it and all the lives lost. I mean, just cold hard cash. How many tens of trillions of dollars of commerce? I mean, dude, there's been nothing like this. At what point would it be advantageous to have a tier 1 response team that you send in and you're like, you're setting up this quarantine because this nation, whether or not they help us, China, fucking Madagascar, whoever, or is it just like go in there and like lights out on everyone? What do? Do you send in drone swarms? Do you set up artificial barriers? I don't know.
Exactly. It's going to be the unknown until think tanks come through and figure out what's going to happen.
There's certainly no precedence for anything like that.
No, absolutely not. But I mean, but in all seriousness, it's always better to ask for forgiveness than permission. At what point does someone in the Pentagon go, hey, we got to have a team and we're not waiting for whoever fucking
now, without getting too much into it, those teams are already out there to recover chemical weapons, nuclear weapons,
well, then repurpose them,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's teams already out there to do this, but they have to know about it. And not knowing about it, those teams can't react upon it.
Yeah. I mean, you would have to have some sort of global monitoring system. It would be like all those satellite rings we have that detect missile launches. You would have to find a way to detect biological outbreaks. I don't know.
Dude, that's the most plain bagel, just like your face.
Just had food delivered from the kitchen.
That is a plain bagel. It looks fantastic, though. Is that cheese?
JP, I gotta say that you look like a Iraqi home movie.
Nice.
And the silver lining's your beard. You got way more than I do.
Yeah, you definitely got the moves look going.
My mom, when I was deploying, that's when I started growing out my beard. And my mom was like, "You look like a Haji." Oh, I'm like, Mom, you know how many times I go into like Qatar airport or whatever, and I get approached by someone speaking like Arabic? That's why I fucking grow the beard out. Like,
yeah,
they're just dropping intel.
I walked to my parents' house. I had my hair down backwards. My beard is a lot longer. My mom's like, "I think I blow the place up."
Yeah, man. I think it was the first or second episode you were on, JP. You had this pea vomit green hat.
Yeah, it was like super low.
No, but it had nothing over in the front. It was just kind of like a square cap. When I first saw you, it was like fucking Fidel Castro.
Yes.
Yeah. It was just, he came on and I was like, who? Yeah, I was like, man, my podcast is going.
What's that? Abort.
Yeah,
Okay,
abort.
They're on to me. Fuck.
JP, you should put like you should hang up like a white curtain behind you or something, like they did in the caves for all the home videos.
Or just put Che Guevara's right here.
Yeah.
See, Dan, this is why JP's great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys? I was curious though. Do you guys think it's gonna get? Do you think it's gonna get much worse? You know, a lot of people are saying, we haven't seen even the start of this shit. You know, a lot of people freaking out about martial law and all that crap.
No, I really am optimistic. I believe Trump said it yesterday. He's like, we're heading into a difficult 2 weeks, which means that we're hitting beyond capacity, which means that like we could be hitting a peak where like a lot of people are gonna die. Positive side would be hopefully this is hump day. I hope.
Yeah.
I don't see any benefit of like being pessimistic and being correct, being like I think we're fucked, and then being like told you so. You know, that not to say stick my head in the sand. I do. I think a lot of people like to shit on this country, and I feel like we always pull through in ways that people couldn't have foreseen it, and everyone's very quick to forget that, and very big bad America, the great Satan. But not to act like I'm running for president, but I really do think that we come through whenever the challenge arises, and I think we do so with flying colors. And I really just don't see us bending over and taking down our pants and being like, well, COVID-19, this is it. I mean, we got through the Cuban Missile Crisis. In the height of the Cold War, the president had a lobotomy and a Cadillac. We've had 9/11. We've had Pearl Harbor. I just don't see this. I just don't see this.
Spanish flu,
Spanish flu. I just don't fucking see this. And maybe it is. Maybe it's some blind patriotism, but I just don't. It's goddamn America. I just don't see it happening. It's everyone saying it's the worst. We're a third world country. Go fuck yourself. Get out of here. Notice how Canada had to block off the border from Americans going north because when push came to shove, none of those dumb fucks wanted to go south because they know Mexico's a shithole. All right? Just like all those fucking liberals trying to buy guns now. When push comes to shove, you all go to Canada. You didn't go down south because you deep down know it's a goddamn fucking cartel dystopia.
Yeah.
You can't tell I get a little heated. But
just a little bit. That's okay though. I mean, you should. And I think that's a problem with. I'm gonna go on a tangent here, but I think that's the problem with our generation nowadays, that they think none of this shit cares, and that we can all just hold hands, sing kumbaya. It's like, no, dude, it's not like that. Like, I wish it was like that, but it ain't.
I wish it was. I wish it was, but it's a zero-sum game. So it's nut up or shut the fuck up. Because if it's not us in charge, it's someone else in charge, and they're not gonna be as nice as you are. All right? We got one gun with one bullet. Hey, JP, you can have it, because guess what? I'm not going to shoot you, buddy, and I protect... JP, why are you pointing that at me? Give me all your food and water, Tommy.
Because fuck you, that's why.
Yeah, because fuck you. Well, why would you do that? Because one of us lives.
Ouch.
Yeah.
It's one less mouth to feed.
Point where they declare martial law in any state.
Dan, don't talk with food in your mouth. God damn it.
But
it's the fucking with you, man.
I think that if we get to a point where they declare martial law in any state, we're going to have much more problems than the COVID virus.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. I completely agree.
Because you're going to have a lot of armed people in that state going, no, I'm not giving up my civil liberties for anything, not even this virus.
Yeah. Because who's to say it's not a Trojan horse?
It's so where, you have governors threatening that. Okay. Look at Virginia when they were going over these radical gun laws that they were proposing, and the governor was like, hey, we're going to institute martial law, to make sure this goes through. You had the National Guard stand up and say, look, there's only a couple reasons you can declare martial law, and that's for a major disaster or an occupying force. And by the way, if you try to get us to go take guns from, law-abiding citizens in this state, you will have more than one reason to declare martial law because we will be the occupying force.
Yeah.
That's where,
Northam's a spineless fuck, man. I live in this state, and God, I hate that man.
Yeah.
I hate him so much.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the virus will become a small story in that state once the law is declared, because you will have much bigger problems at that point.
Yeah. It's sorry. I know. You keep going. No, it's everyone like, it's like, dude, if you're not anti-gun, you're just pro-gun in the hands of fewer people. And those are the one thing I never fucking get is how in the same breath or the same fucking goddamn tweet you can see Trump is a dictator and a Nazi with concentration camps, and in the same fucking sentence it can be, we need to give all of our weapons to the government. Really?
Yeah,
Hitler's in charge, and you're saying give him all the weapons. Like, does no one see the fucking irony in that? He is a literal Hitler. In the same breath, everyone turn in your weapons. But that just means that you don't truly believe one of those statements. That's all it means. Just like saying, like, Mexico's not a shithole. Hey, COVID breaks out in the United States. Ain't no one running south. Everyone's going north. Right.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, my generation, we don't fucking get this. We don't take this shit seriously. Everyone takes a political stance on topics just so they can be, you know, like,
look at
cool and friendly with people. And,
look how fucking noble I am. I said this.
Right, yeah. No one. It's all fucking posturing. No one wants to actually stand up, you know, and take like a rational stance on a fucking issue.
No, and
everyone wants to get along, or, you know, have the likes on their Facebook feed or whatever the fuck they're doing.
I think that's probably why I've been banned from so many subreddits. I've been banned from more fucking subreddits.
Dude, Reddit is such a liberal haven.
Reddit took $300 million from China, and on Reddit on the front page is where you see China has no more cases, and everyone's like, oh, well, China's not lying, and it's like $300 million investment in Reddit. You don't think there's any incentive for Reddit to put something pro-China out? I mean, Jesus Christ. What about those two pictures on the front page last week? One of Trump, and he's painted green and has all the virus, like the glycoproteins coming off, so he looks like a caricature of a virus. And then there's one of Winnie the Pooh, Xi Jinping.
Yeah.
One of them got locked and removed. The other sat on the front. You know? It's... Tell me there's not a bias there. I mean, granted, I do stir the pot. Like, when I had on that T... This is what he goes by. The guy from Sayeret, the Israeli Special Forces. I only posted it in one subreddit. I posted it on R Saudi Arabia. Because I was like, hey, I was just like, hey, I had this really cool Jewish, this Jewish trained killer on my instant ban. Instant. You have been no, and I was just like, what's the matter, guys? Like, yeah. But the funny thing is like I had to use Google Translate because the ban was in Arabic. So I was like, but I was like, all right, you know, I get that one. But like, yeah, man, it's all posturing and look how noble I am until it's like all those fucking celebrities that sang Imagine the other day. Did you see that video?
Yeah.
It's all these people worth hundreds of millions of dollars in their fucking palaces with God knows whatever supplies they need, and they're like, imagine all, and it's just like, you scum fucks. Like, holy shit.
I'm gonna be that guy. I fucking hate the Beatles. All right, I'm just gonna say it. It's not like
Here, and John Lennon was the enemy of the state.
He was, dude. He was a communist piece of shit.
He was. What about when one of his employees came up to him when he was running a business right before he got yeeted in the head, and he was saying something? Well, what about like world peace? And he said to his employee, he said, "That's just a fucking song." Like, man was either a communist or he was a bloodthirsty capitalist. Either way, he wasn't truthful about it. Fuck that guy. He used to sit in his penthouse in New York.
And he was an enemy of the state.
He was. He used to sit in his penthouse in New York, and apparently it's either one of his sons or one of his friends would be like, yeah, he used to sit out there and be like, he would just point at people on the sidewalk and be like, they're all walking to work, they're just perpetuating the system. And he'd be like, dude, not everyone can afford this penthouse palace with food delivered. Like, yeah. Sorry, but yeah, no, fuck John Lennon. We're just burning it down with this podcast.
So Dan, for your old ass, yeeting means like you just fucking throw something.
Yeah.
Do what? Like
to yeet. Y-E-E-T. Yeet. Like yeet is to, yeah. It's the
someone.
Like Kobe. Well, not. It used to be Kobe for accuracy and yeeting for distance. If you're trying to get into a trash can, it's Kobe. If you're trying to get distance, it's yeet. What do you got to say, Nick?
Well, what's Kobe's now is like when you see a helicopter crash, you're like, Kobe.
Yeah. Dude, I've been playing Grand Theft.
I'm like, where do these idioms come from, man? And what lexicon are they a part of? Come on. Is that too
don't
big a
know.
word for you, Tommy?
Yeet? Lexicon?
Lexicon.
No, I know
Oh,
that's
yeah.
where the Revolutionary War started, dickhead. But yeah, I've been
Hey,
playing.
come on, Dave.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Stuff was awesome.
Yeah, I've been.
Not sick. What does sick mean?
Yeah.
It's like COVID-19. Now people are like,
Yeah.
oh, that's sick. So are they going to change that idiom too to something else?
I don't know.
You know, and I can say we're going to go back to rad
Yeah.
or bitching.
Yeah,
It's 50 cool.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It's going back early 90s.
I think we need to bring back Old English. Just
Fuck English.
okay, all right.
Yeah, because instead of people going, "Dude, we got a problem here," they're going to be saying, "I would have word with these, Sarah."
Thence hast a quarrel.
By the way, JP, I got to do a shout out to Chris Kelso.
Shout out
Nice,
Chris
dude.
Kelso, 22 veteran
Oh, you
suicidal
know
awareness.
my squirter shirt, Tommy?
Yeah, the one you wore in the first episode. Sport is welcome.
That's an awesome shirt, by the way, dude. I was like, that's the best shirt that he could wear on a fucking podcast.
Yeah, sport is welcome.
No.
Squirters wanted.
I sent him a text. I'm like, hey, dude, like, I got a good idea. I'm like, do you know the exit signs in Europe with the guy running through the door? Like, squirters, like, so we went back and forth, and he's like, squirters wanted. There you go.
That reminds me of like the stop signs in the Middle East. Looks like two guys in a rowboat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
which is August.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't get it.
And in Turkish, it's dur. Dur, dur.
And in Hungul's Chungji.
Why do we know these things?
And in German it is nine.
Did you see that meme? It was like, can someone explain the butterfly effect to me? And someone else was like, yeah. So, some almost illiterate Chinaman eats a bat, and now I can't wipe my ass with toilet paper.
Oh my god, that's the best.
That's why we can't do time traveling, man. Because a little shit like that, what if that's what it was?
Well, could you imagine, if COVID caused massive diarrhea, there'd be a rush on Visine and nasal spray.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, dude, come on.
Yeah, but it makes. I never understood this toilet paper rush. Like,
It's the herd mentality. It's a
just gotta
panic.
have it.
There's a psychology to it. So the first guy goes, "Oh, dude, they're quarantining people in China. They're gonna do the same thing here. I need to stock up." So he goes to Costco or whatever, and he grabs like a whole pallet full of toilet paper. 15,000 people see him coming out of freaking Costco with a whole pallet of toilet paper. They're like, "Dude, I better buy toilet paper before it's gone." And next thing you know, it's just all gone.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
China.
Is that
Yeah,
like all those
it's
those
mass
gas
paranoia.
shortages? Those gas
It's
shortages
not a
in the early
shitting
2000s?
virus, though. I don't get it.
That's what, yeah.
That's
but,
what I'm saying. Yeah. So if it caused you this shit, everybody be buying nasal spray and Visine.
So what you're saying was what you're saying was COVID was perpetrated by Charm, or was it Charmin? Is that
Charmin?
Yeah. It's a big,
Please explain me the math on their packaging. 2 = 4 = 19. What the fuck? And their
COVID
fucking marketing side there's
equals
0.7
COVID-19. They're dropping
Yeah.
hints. Equals
19.
COVID-19. Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's in the back of my
There's
head
a bunch
now.
of fucking Illuminati symbolism. They're letting us know beforehand. Yeah, man.
True.
Yeah, man.
What was that meme that was going around about the toilet paper? It said like THC infused in toilet paper to help calm your ass down. Yeah.
That's pretty. I saw a video yesterday that was like it was this guy, and it's he's filming it on his phone, and it's like the island in his kitchen, and he's like, "Man, I went to Kroger. Kroger's in down south. It's just a fucking grocery store." He's like, "I went to Kroger," and he's like, "Man, I went in there and there's no toilet paper, there's no deli meat, there's no milk, and I couldn't get it. And I went outside, and there were so many people, and they all had these things. They were all buying them in bulk and putting them in their trunks. And so I asked, I said, does anyone have any of these things they can spare?" And people are so kind. They all gave it to me, and he starts pointing to each thing on the counter, but he's pointing with his Glock. He was going, "That guy gave me some toilet paper. That guy gave me some deli meat." Everyone was just being so helpful. I didn't even have to like raise my voice. And I was like, "Yeah, man. There's the importance of weapons." But yeah, do you think? Can someone pull up the numbers? Do you think? Because gun sales under Obama were pretty historical, but I feel like under coronavirus they've gone up even more.
Up 70% this week.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Applications for.
Yeah. I love it when that happens. I think more guns just in society. I legitimately do. The harder they are to bring.
News this morning.
Yeah, it's the harder to bring them all back under some totalitarian government. I do think the more that are just sprinkled out there in basements, in floorboards, in cars, I think the more that are out there, it's just everyone has an insurance policy.
You ready for this?
Yes.
According to the New York Times, 1.9 million guns sold during the coronavirus outbreak in March 2020.
That's awesome. I'm so happy.
The last spike was in 2013 during Obama. So
Yeah, makes sense.
After his re-election.
Yeah.
Oh man, I remember that because I was trying to get supplies to do reloading at that time, and it took me almost 2 years to be able to get primers
Jesus.
because there was such a rush on them right away. I was behind the curve on that, behind the train on that one, and people bought them up and they weren't letting them go.
Jesus Christ. So
I used to do a lot of long range shooting and did all my own reloading for that, and it basically put that hobby on pause for like 2 years.
yeah, Jesus Christ. Yeah, man. So like, who is benefiting from coronavirus? Because almost every industry is universally hurting because they just literally can't have their employees in.
With each state's different. So
Yeah.
you take Oneida County where I live right now.
Yeah.
So you cannot file for a pistol permit right now. You cannot file for anything right now because one, the county offices are closed. Two, they saw this coming in New York State's like, no, we're not doing that. So if you want to add a pistol onto your permit, probably it's not going to happen because New York State's very strict in how you do it.
Yeah.
So
bunch of
it's
communists.
really hard to get a license now.
Yeah. So I was thinking, just silver lining, trying to be positive. Do you think that this could result in like the greatest generation of like doctors? Because apparently there's like doctors, there's like med students, and they're all saying like on Reddit like fourth year med students, where they're basically, it's almost like putting a helmet on them and being like, you're a soldier now. Apparently they're just grabbing them. They're like, you're a doctor now. Like, time to go. Nut up. You're not doing your residency. You're dealing with a global pandemic. Just looking at the upside, maybe we get the greatest generation of doctors. It's just a bunch of people that had to like
cool.
nut the fuck up. I don't know, just trying to look at some positivity.
I was thinking about reducing our dependency. Like if Trump pushes this initiative to have more manufacturing, like that's greatest generation of workers, man. People are going to be filling up those spots for factories if we can actually get that going.
Well, you got these millennials that have never worked, and they're not doing shit. They're living at home and being douchebags.
Yeah.
Out there playing video games like we all do. But still, like, they don't go out and work. They don't know what going out and throwing hay is. They don't know what fucking sweeping up after 11:30 at night at a restaurant on a Friday night, going through cleaning everything again because you clean it 50 times during your shift.
But
they don't understand these things.
I know all those things, though. I've worked at bars. I've worked till 4 a.m., literally with gloves on, pulling tampons out of toilets. Yeah. Yeah, no, I have to give some defense to my generation because I don't have a single friend from college that didn't go to medical school, law school, or be a successful financer. Every friend I have is incredibly successful.
But that's you. Like, I just graduated a year ago, and I went for art. I went for photography, use my GI Bill, and do something to try to learn. I still learn something every day, even though I've been doing photography for 25 years.
Yeah.
Most of the kids that were there have never worked a day in their life. They're entitled. It's one person, if you can call it a fucking person, had to change their gender every 15 fucking minutes. Like, I'm here to learn photography, not if you took your medication this morning or not. Like, I don't care.
You know on porta potties that has vacancy, no vacancy? They should start making little name tags for all the gender fluid people. You can just change it with like an app, like a little screen. Be like, I'm this now. Ding. Like, I'm this now. Ding. I'm a gender fluid foxkin.
That's actually pretty good.
I'm a gender fluid fox king. Or,
you should patent that, bro.
Yeah. No, it's all right. I don't want to. It's kind of funny how in the U.S. Census there's only male and female options.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah, I saw it the other day when we were doing filling out our stuff for the census. Yeah. It was interesting. So I'm like, so there's a small percentage of America now that can't be counted.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There are a lot of people with blue hair and nose piercings that are just freaking out right now. Just
I don't have Twitter, but I can imagine the Twitterati right now. Like, oh my god, I just got the fucking census and my gender wasn't fucking on there.
it's
Twitter's been awesome.
Yeah. Just
I mean, it's almost. Hey, think about it. It's almost like the government is saying right now, you don't count.
I'm okay with
don't
that.
count.
Though. I'm okay with that.
Right.
Jesus Christ in heaven. No, another funny thing is speaking of how no one went south during the outbreak of coronavirus, I'm sure it's just a coincidence, right? That's also how they're all completely for complete border sealing right now. And they're like, well, we have to have borders because if we have people coming in here, well, then all of our quarantine efforts are for naught because we're all taking care of each other, but we're bringing in people from outside and not checking them and seeing their backgrounds and if they're sick or not. And it's almost like, well, isn't that fucking ironic? What a little microcosm that is. Really, we're all taking care of each other here, and we don't know their past.
Those people all wanted the shit closed. I think it was January 19th was a paper about the impeachment, and right next to like Trump's photo and all that was about the coronavirus and how Trump was trying to secure the borders and doing checks on people coming into the country.
Yeah.
Schumer and Pelosi closed it down or shut it down quick as shit.
Remember when he shut down all flights from China in early January? And everyone was like, he's xenophobe. And now they're all like, this is in Trump's hands. And it's like, dude, you make up your fucking mind. Just choose one. Just fucking choose one.
That's been their MO, dude, for like this entire time. Like at the beginning during January, they were calling it the Wuhan virus and saying that it was coming from China. And then they flipped the shit when Trump was like, it's the Chinese virus and stuff. I'm like, well, aren't you thinking that you're discriminating people by calling it Chinese virus? I'm like, dude, were you guys saying this about Zika or anything, like West Nile?
Spanish flu?
Yeah, Spanish flu. I mean, for fuck's sake, man.
Yeah, no one gives...
Calm the fuck down.
No.
Although somebody did in the administration refer to it as the Kung flu.
Yeah, that was Trump.
Yeah,
Trump called
like
it
that
Kung
one.
flu.
That one's good.
Yeah.
And that really made people go ape shit.
Well, didn't when Trump he tweeted and he deleted it, but I guess Rogan saw it and Rogan... Yeah, that's the hat you were wearing, JP. You got the American flag hat. Yeah, no, it wasn't that one because it didn't have an American flag. The one when he looked like Fidel. But
He does.
I have one of those hats. I can look like Fidel. I just gotta dig it out.
It was like a straight green patrol cap or something?
yeah, it was the vomit green like dictator fatigue, right?
Like OD.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like dark olive drab or whatever.
Kind of like the stuff that was issued when I first came into the military.
Yeah.
Beat you to it, Nick.
Yeah.
You old fuck.
But I guess Trump tweeted out that we're sending 12 or 15, whatever it is, $1,500 to every American. But it said, except for all those who have ever tweeted "not my president," because I wouldn't want to offend you and make you sign a check from "not your president." And then he deleted the tweet. But Rogan saw it, and Rogan in the 1 minute it was up, Rogan saw it and read it on his podcast, and he was like, the president. He's like him or hate him. He's like, the president dunks on people. He was like, the president. He was like, that's what he does. He dunks on people. And it was just, who the fuck else just shit posts like that? I mean, he's a shit poster. You can't deny that.
It's fucking great.
Yeah,
it is great.
My parents were listening to him last night, and I heard him talking, and I was like, it almost sounds like he just says stupid shit sometimes as like a smokescreen because he knows everyone's gonna. It's like when he does a typo. You ever notice how when he wants to tweet about something that he knows the media won't cover, like low unemployment or something, he's like, well, I know they're not going to cover this, so what I'll do is I'll put a typo in there. So instead, they all put it on their screens, and they're like, "This idiot can't spell. This stupid dumb." And then but on all their screens, it's like 53-year low unemployment, and it's just Trump playing like a fucking fiddle. But he did it yesterday. He's like, I think that we're actually making a lot of N95 masks. A lot of people are manufacturing them at home. It's great. Many Americans are doing it. Some people are even wearing scarves, and like I literally heard it come. He goes, I might even say scarves are better than N95 masks, and it's just like. You can hear it right there. And it's like, there's the soundbite. I almost think scarves are better than N95 masks. And you can just almost hear everyone in the media just like foaming at the mouth. Like, there it is. Like,
so then go back and prove me wrong that it's not our country who started this.
Yeah. No, I think it is. I think there are equal probabilities that China started it and that we started it.
We put the fan behind it.
Yeah. I mean, dude, like, it's almost comical where it started. It started outside the equivalent of their CDC, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not that stupid. If you wanted to make it look like it was America, you put it right outside our CDC. We wouldn't release it outside our CDC. We would release it right outside someone else's. Like, it's almost comical, right? So, yeah, I think there's a very good chance it's ours. What other way to move? You said. What are you guys all smiling at? Oh, damn.
No, I see Dan's wheels turning.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, shut the fuck up, guys.
No, I'm not saying that.
But
well,
what?
I've said this
move
before.
all
Tommy's
manufacturing.
had me on. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
You know, I just, again, when we're talking about a biological weapon, you know,
No
that
way.
you can't contain, it's indiscriminate, that it would take one real evil son of a bitch to release that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With no regard for his own people.
Yeah.
And so, as much as people, you know, talk crap about our government or whatever, and our president in particular, I don't see him giving the green light for that.
Yeah.
Now, I could see maybe another country doing that, maybe even China. You know what I mean? But again, what's there to gain from it? You know, I always go back to a biological weapon's great. Not that I'm advocating it, but that it's great if you can contain it within a target audience or a targeted area. You know, like you can a chemical weapon. Outside of that, man, biological weapons are wicked, wicked things. And for somebody to release that, they have to do it with the knowledge that they're going to potentially kill a shit ton of their own people in the process.
Well,
you know what I mean?
So,
Yeah.
And so I'm not talking about like, you know, like the Syrian government, the Assad regime, you know, gassing people up in Idlib, you know, because that's contained, right? It's a contained environment. This is a global thing. So what is there to gain from wasting a bunch of your own people, let alone everybody else, you know, from that? The economy around the world is shit right now. You know, borders are being closed up. You know, countries like the U.S. are talking about going off of dependency from China, which we should. You know, we should manufacture our own PPE, our own medical stuff, you know, whatever. So that further damages their economy. So who would intentionally release it and why? That's the hard. That's the thing that I got a hard time with going, you know, this was an intentional thing.
Here's the thing with that though, and I completely agree with you. Like I said, you know, like I don't have proof that they did it, but to me it seems like they did. And whether they did or not, they did lean into it because there was reports of a Chinese advertisement agency that was pushing like ad campaigns out throughout Europe. And it was basically like, hey, stop the hate, hug a Chinese person.
Yeah.
And this was
Italy.
before they
It was
were
in
reporting,
Italy.
you know, yeah, this was before they were reporting, you know, how bad it was. Like the media here was just like, you know, yeah, China's dealing with this bullshit, but you know, like they're kind of getting fucked, but no one panic. You know, the flu is worse. And then they pushed this ad campaign out throughout Europe. And now, I mean, like Italy's been on lockdown for over a month now. And there's talks of rioting and people starving to death and all this other shit. And like, whether or not they did it, they leaned into it and like took advantage of it. So I just think that's kind of fucked. But yeah.
I think once that happens, you know, you're going to see a lot of different people not miss an opportunity to take advantage of a crisis.
Well, yeah,
Right.
that's the oldest one in the book. What I was
I
going to
mean,
say,
yeah, our politicians do it all the time. So.
yeah. Well, what I was going to say is,
Yeah, look what's going on with the bill. You know, they're trying to pass for money for fighting this thing right now. Like all these politicians jumping on there, tacking on all their pork belly stuff. They're taking advantage of a crisis. Yet at the same time, the federal government turns around and stops, you know, people from price gouging when they're selling PPE to the point where even N95 masks that are going at a reasonable price on eBay, all their shit's being taken down because eBay is saying, yo, you're violating our price gouging policy. You're taking advantage of a crisis. But then when Kobe died and people were selling Kobe stuff on eBay didn't shut them down. Isn't that taking advantage of somebody's crisis? You know what I mean?
I don't think it's quite the same.
Huh?
I don't think it's quite the same.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, you know, I thought we were in a free market. Yeah. Apparently, we can't really be capitalists when you know there's disease going around and people need these things and other people have them.
Yeah.
You know, I get the price gouging thing. I get it, but again, you know, if people are hoarding N95 masks and they're waiting for a virus to come along so they can price gouge, I still wouldn't look at them and go, yeah, you caused a problem.
Yeah.
It's trying to capitalize on it.
Yeah.
So the Congress is trying to do the same thing that they stopped the American public from doing. they're trying to capitalize on it,
Yeah.
just in a way.
Yeah. Hey, pass this bill if you want your relief money. By the way, there's some benefits in there for us. Pass this bill if you want it, though.
Oh yeah, give us a raise.
Yeah.
As part of.
Yeah. So
and take money away from veterans and give it to refugees.
Oh yeah, that was another one. $300 million to refugees.
Yeah, let's keep funding up for Planned Parenthood too during this whole crisis because we need those abortions too.
Yeah, we gotta have that sweet.
It's called stem cells for research to figure out how to solve this. I agree on that for right now, and that's the only time I'll ever say that.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say is
got a point.
I get it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the stem cell line, pluripotent stem cells. What I was going to say is we keep talking about who's benefiting from this. I think I've said it before on this podcast. Is I believe it was Emperor Hirohito, the guy we nuked. But before we fried him, or his people, before he made refried rice, he had something where someone asked him, they're like, "Do you think the French Revolution was advantageous to France?" And he had an awesome quote. So this was like 1944. Someone asked him, French Revolution, 1789. He said, "Too soon to tell." And so one thing I think of is like coronavirus, like too soon to tell, man. Who's benefited? I don't know. So another thing was, what if we have some people that are going to die, right? Well, we talked about triage earlier. Again, just looking at it from a psychopathic leader. What if you look at it as like some people will die, but it will ultimately put the nation in a better spot for the centuries to come? At what point do you go, and if we don't do this, we're going to be under the foot of China? And lastly, I was going to say, and I don't mean lastly for the podcast, lastly before I go piss. Lastly, when we dropped the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and what?
You got the bladder of a gnat.
I know, dude. I know. Sponsored by Depends and Pfizer. Yeah.
Here we go again, fucking Pfizer.
Is your bladder leaking? That should be on one of those podcast commercials where it's like all the guys hanging out, the like strangely metrosexual, like they're all kayaking in like different color kayaks. Like, can you not podcast for more than 30 minutes? But yeah, so yeah, you gotta But when we dropped the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, there was at least in Hiroshima, I know there was at least 10 U.S. POWs that we knew were there, but it ended the war.
Yeah, it's called Wolverine. Duh.
Of course. But
I saw that film. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, again, I'm just looking at it as dark and as mechanical and detached as you can. You gotta break some eggs, and who knows what? Who knows? We're looking at it as like, okay, it brings manufacturing back to the U.S. and puts us in a better place economically. Is that really worth killing a bunch of people? Probably not. What if there's a greater threat that's classified that we don't know, and it's like, hey, but that's also a dangerous path of saying, oh, just trust, blindly trust. So
Iran.
What?
Right.
Yeah. This is all
Hasn't
comes
like
back
Iran's like leadership taken a big hit? Like they've all been infected or something like that. I forget,
Yeah.
Oh no, Tommy. When I was on here last time, did we talk about the whole asteroid passing by, or is that after?
No, we did not. Hold on. Let me go to the bathroom. What the fuck?
Yeah, I got to piss too. Be right back.
These guys crack me up, man.
I felt like such a jackass coming in. I was like, oh shit! Like, checked my phone, came in from outside. I was all sweaty. I was like, I need a shower real quick. I want to eat. And I came in. I'm like, hey, what's up, guys? I'm eating shit.
Hey, it's all good, man. It's all good, dude. I was actually I'd forgotten what time we were coming on today, so I was a little bit delayed, anyways. So I'm trying to work a job, trying to get a job back in California. So I was going to be buying a house out here in Tennessee, but everything's not working out. And I already have a house in California, so I'm thinking, just keep the house there and try and find work for at least a couple of years while this stuff blows over. Because it could take a couple of years with the way the market's going right now. Okay, interest rates are going up on home loans. The lenders are tightening the restrictions on who they approve loans for. So up until this week, your debt to income ratio had to be like 50%, right? With the loan included for you to qualify. As of like today or yesterday, it's 41% now.
Wow.
Debt to income ratio. So, I mean, even the house that we were looking to put a bid on and stuff, or that we were negotiating with, if it doesn't close out, we're not going to requalify for another loan because we'll be above that 41% mark, right? Especially if I can't sell my house in California. So yeah, I was talking with an HR person about a gig out in California, and Nick was like, "Hey, dude, you coming on?" I'm like, "Oh crap, what time?" He's like, 2:00 Eastern time. I'm like, "Oh, dude, yeah, you guys are an hour ahead of me. I'm late, so don't worry about it, man. It's all good. You know, you can come on and eat and talk at the same time, whatever."
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not ashamed or anything, but I just felt like a jackass because I'm sitting out there listening to my tunes. You know, like I was raking my yard because I got like a whole bunch of thatch that's growing up in my yard. I got to fucking undo it, and then I was like seeding it and whatnot, and just come in. I'm all sweaty. I'm like, dude, why the hell is my music skipping? And then I look, and I got Nick, I got Tommy hit me. I'm like, oh fuck, like I didn't know, I didn't remember, like I didn't say I was gonna do it. I just thought like he told me next Friday, you know, with another guy that I know, we were gonna double up on that, and he didn't confirm for today. I'm just blaming everything on you, Tommy, for not being here on time.
Has bad comms.
Bad comms.
Bad comms.
Tommy's bad communicator. That's what it is.
I am a great communicator.
Dude, okay.
Yeah, fuck you, dude. Yeah, man. It's
I'm trying to find the date. So a couple of weeks ago, I don't know what day. Maybe it was the 5th. Fuck, I don't know. But I did have this new phone. I have the S20. So it was just after that came out.
Hey,
there's an asteroid.
Do you guys know that channel, MKBHD? The guy that reviews tech? He started when he was like 15, and he's grown up to like 10. He's interviewed like Bill Gates and Elon Musk. He has the best tech review channel. He reviews everything. He's like, Apple sends him free shit. Nick, we got the Samsung S20 review up before him.
Did we?
Yeah, so I commented on his video. I mean, granted, he got more views on that Samsung video in the first 60 seconds than I have in 4 months. But I was like, you got scooped, bitch. And you know, no, he didn't. As I died in the voice. Yeah, sorry.
There's an asteroid that was supposed to come into our atmosphere, and they're like, don't stare at it. The last one that happened, you know, in Russia is 10 times brighter than staring at the sun.
Triple links. Yeah.
I set my camera up, and I was recording towards the brewery, which is looking south. It was super overcast. I'm like, I'm not going to see anything. It's supposed to happen like at 11:15 in the evening, Eastern time. I didn't think anything of it. I'm looking out the window, kind of not looking because I don't want to be staring straight at it just in case it actually was going to happen. I didn't see anything. I go back through. I record for 5.5 minutes. I go back through and watch it on my phone. And at a certain point, I see a bright flash on the hoppers on the brewery and on the AC units on the roof. But it came from the north, not the south. So I'm like, huh. And that was just when we were starting to lock down and everything. And then also in the same article I saw, there's 2 more asteroids supposed to come near Earth at the end of April. It's like, this whole coronavirus come out to make us be safer against the aliens when they attack us? But there's asteroids actually.
Maybe the elite know that there's a world-ending asteroid coming, and they're like, we can't have everyone freaking out. Well, that didn't work because everyone's freaking out. So never mind. Yeah,
I mean, it's over extended period of time. Not okay. 2:00 this afternoon, Trump's going to say, "Hey, asteroid's going to hit us in 4 weeks."
Yeah. So
then the shit's going to hit the fan.
One thing I was thinking of is like, so we talked about who's benefiting from coronavirus. No one that we can see. What if it's not a national actor? What if let's just put on our conspiracy hats? How would the elite power structure benefit from everyone basically going home? Everyone went home. We just hit pause on society. What could be happening in plain sight right now? I don't know. That's what I'm asking you guys. I mean, train deliveries, fucking shit in the sky. Like, is there? And if that wasn't the source behind it, could they just be capitalizing on it any? Like one form of capitalization, I thought, like, how much does it cost to get those like shots in cities where everything's like no one's there, like car commercials, or for like movies, like zombie movies? Well, that's all happening for free right now. I mean, how many people are capitalizing and just storing 4K video? Like, hey, Who, 10 years from now, you need Minneapolis? You need Chicago? I'm your man. Well, open the trench coat. I got your 4K videos. What do you need? What do you need? You need New Orleans at dusk? No one on the road? I'm your man. Right here.
Yeah.
Just no, that's stupid.
Hey, just give me some ideas on how to profit from this. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, man. But no, I mean, I'm just trying to think, like, what would be, like, I don't know. Who could benefit from, so let's not even say that someone initiated COVID for this. Who could be benefiting now just utilizing what's going on? I'm asking just all you 3 military guys, is there, what is there? Is this some intel, like, sweet spot? Is this some, I don't know. No?
I mean, the one thing my mind goes to, and
Nick, get off
not
the
like
phone.
not like
Join
they
the
had a
conversation.
play in it or anything, but definitely hospitals, man, are seeing what their capacity is. I mean, because this has always been theorized, like, what happens, man, if, like, we have some kind of outbreak or something and hospitals get overloaded, and it's just like, it's the domino effect. Like,
Yeah.
well, if hospitals get overloaded, then people can't go to work, and if people can't go to work, then supply chains break down, and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people, at least within industries, are realizing, like, we maybe need to better prepare for the next time this potentially happens.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like, is that, it's not really, maniacal fucking,
Yeah.
gaining of intelligence, but
Yeah, no, that was too rational.
Well, we've seen a significant reduction.
my bad.
Right? Since all the quarantines and stuff started happening, we've seen a significant reduction in pollution global.
That's true.
Right.
Is this Greenpeace? Greenpeace
We've also seen opportunities to gain access to places that were previously denied to us, through avenues like the World Health Organization. So, for instance, the WHO's been in China, right? They're probably going to be in Iran. They're going to be in other places that are typically hard for us to get into.
That's what I'm talking
And, I don't know if this is happening or not because I haven't worked in this field for a while, but, the old humor in me would be like, hey, I need to find some people that I can put in these organizations to start building contacts to collect intel in the future so we can find out if we're going to face something similar to this again or not, those kinds of things. Are we doing that? Are we not? Who knows? I would like to think maybe that's happening to some extent somewhere in the world that we can leverage that opportunity.
Yeah.
But who's benefiting? I don't think anybody right now is specifically benefiting from any of this. I think the world as a whole is kind of slowing.
Yeah.
Economically, medically, it just on so many fronts, man. It's just I don't see any immediate benefits.
Okay. Oldest conspiracy in the book: mass implanting of population, like the true mark of the beast.
I would say another thing too, Tommy, is if if our government wasn't too busy bailing out all these fucking companies, Elon Musk would definitely be benefiting because fucking airlines are fucking hurting right now. So,
shit.
have you seen fucking prices for airline tickets right now?
We talked
Or
about
how
this.
about cruises?
We talked about this.
Yeah,
JP.
cruises.
Elon has to get rid of the FAA.
Yeah, I'm telling you, yeah. Elon needs to get rid of the FAA if he wants his fucking reality to become,
Elon talked about,
Come,
someone asked him, how are we going to get to Mars? And he said, we got to get rid of the FAA. And everyone was like, what the fuck? Because if he can use rockets to replace global air travel, he's going to become a trillionaire and thus be able to privately fund Mars. Is this Elon? Is this all Elon? Yeah, man. But I mean, what about vaccine? I mean, dude, Bill Gates is coming out saying we need a vaccine, and not only that, there has to be like a digital marker in it.
Oh yeah, I've seen that too.
What better way to fucking implant 7 billion people than to COVID 2 months later, like, psst, hey, you guys want a vaccine? Like, no? Nobody?
And the anti-vaxxers are out getting vaccinated.
Yeah.
So, exactly. That's a way to get them.
That's true. But I mean, that's how to get everyone all at once, too. Not just like newborns. That's how to get everyone all at once.
I don't like the concept of anti-vaxxers.
Yeah,
I think
no,
it
that's
weakens
generally,
the
generally I don't condone retarding your mental processes.
It's potato. We talked about this. Potato.
Yeah, potato,
But
sorry. I don't
Tommy, to feed
condone
into
being
your conspiracy theory stuff, right? do we ever really know what we're getting vaccinated with anyway?
Bum, bum, bum. We're not taking this podcast there. I refuse. We're not going.
I'll just say this, right?
Tommy, this is not your podcast anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you're outnumbered by military guys.
Oh, yeah?
You can sit in the back, fuck off.
Hashtag Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Boogaloo.
Hashtag.
That one I'm familiar with. I'm familiar with that idea.
Who sent me that? Was it one of y'all? Who sent me that meme where it was some girl on Facebook made a status like, y'all, I just got a train run on me and now I'm pregnant. And someone commented, like, please name the kid Thomas. That's Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yeah. That was me that shared it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no direct link there though, right, Thomas?
What?
No
Yeah,
direct link.
I am the train. Yeah. So, yeah, man. But I mean,
the little engine that could.
Yeah, little engine that. Jesus Christ, man. There's got to be rule 30. Oh. Rule 34. Jesus Christ, man. JP's laughing. JP got it.
He's got 2 gears for balls. Drop your pants, man. Let's see it. Come on, show.
I think I can. Yeah.
I just watched the episode a couple nights ago.
Yeah.
Well, I was pretty good on my medication, so yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, man, they're never going to bring any of you guys back to the military. We need everyone except these 3 fuckers.
For PsyOps? Oh, we're fucking great for it. Besides that,
I would love for this platform to be used for PsyOps. I'd be so happy if the CIA approached me and was like, we need you to sow some seeds of disinformation. I would be so happy to do it through this podcast. I would be not blinking twice. I would do it straight up. You wouldn't have to coerce me. You wouldn't have to pay me in unmarked bills. You wouldn't have to offer me. I would agree before they finished proposing.
Yeah.
Fun fact. Yeah. Okay. All right.
You just give me a free mail order Russian bread and we're good.
Yeah. Just give me a cool hat, man. Yeah. So
she shows up and she's huge.
She's huge.
Huge.
He's huge. Hello. Hello. I'm pretty. I identify as mail order bride. Come here. Come here, Thomas the Tank Engine.
So, Tommy, JP, I sent you guys a video on Facebook Messenger. Dan, I sent it to wifey for her to see it. At the 9-second mark, you can see the flare on the hopper tanks. But there's nowhere else in the entire 5.5-minute video, so that's why it's only 16 seconds.
Yeah, man, it's almost like whoever's running the simulation turned up the difficulty to 11. January. World War III, General Salami.
They turned up to 4. They didn't turn up to 11. They turned up to 4.
Okay, yeah. Well, General Salami, World War III. We sidestepped it. Okay, all right. Forest fires in Australia. We sidestepped it. You know, we're dodging. So they're recalibrating. They're like, coronavirus. And it's like, hey, we're handling it. That's where the asteroid comes in. They're just like, fuck
Michelle
this.
Obama has a big cock still.
Yeah. Thanks, Nick. Well,
okay.
My YouTube channel had a great run. But
For that shit went deep.
Yeah.
I mean, dark. I mean, fuck, I'll shut up.
It was only about 3 inches, so it's cool.
Wuhan.
yeah. Yeah.
Whoop, whoop.
Woo woo. Woo woo.
Yo, from now on, when I'm playing Call of Duty, I'm not gonna be like Yeet. I'm like Wuhan.
No, Wuhan. Yeah. So I think I'm just gonna name this podcast episode the Wuhan Clan.
Yes.
Crack me up, dude.
Now the challenge is to make Libby blush, which will never happen.
Yeah, it's not a long time. That hasn't happened in a long time.
It happened in Ohio.
No one's called you pretty?
It did, but you got to remember too. I had a little booze in me, man.
Little.
Yeah.
We're drinking straight. So our buddy retired, who was a chief, and we were at a brewery. We're drinking straight out of the hoppers at the brewery.
Oh yeah, straight out of the fermentation kegs, or whatever it was. Those big vats.
It was so good.
Yeah,
Jesus
I'm just
Christ.
like, just leave me here and leave the tap open. Ah, it was glorious. It was so sublime.
Have you seen Beer Fest?
Yes.
Yeah, you're like landfill.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 With Beer Fest, the guys who made Super Troopers.
Yeah.
Oh, were they? I'm gonna have to watch it now.
Dude, that's
you'll love
fantastic.
it.
That is a fucking classic. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I was gonna try to. I don't know. I was gonna try to pull in Space Force to COVID.
Question
But
for you guys. I just been checking my email and stuff because I'm still kind of working my own stuff. So, like banks and a lot of places, like when we went to Dunkin', they're closing at 1 o'clock. So they're all open from 6 till 1 or 8 till 2. But that's New York State still. So, I mean, obviously we're leading the charge in douchebags. I'm one of them. But you guys seen stuff like that? Starting the hours cut back even more.
No, they've just straight up closed down Ocean City. Just straight up, it's just fucking shut down.
They're starting to close up stuff out here in Clarksville, Tennessee right now, but a lot of places are still fighting it because they don't have any mandatory orders to do so yet. But we're at like the veterinary clinic today because my son's dog ended up with a lot of tumors and stuff, had to have surgery last night. But so they're not letting anybody in the lobby.
It's not a
They're coming
tumor.
out, hit it up, get the pet from the vehicle, take it in, do the consult over the phone, bring the dog back out to you when they're done. So at least, you know, they're limiting contact from that perspective. So,
All right.
yeah.
So, do you think any of this is tied into the Area 51 raid?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm really digging deep for this one.
Tommy, you really think that this was the government's way of putting a stop to that?
Yeah, it was just admittedly delayed. Delayed fuse, but
I think I just grew a tumor.
it's not a
It's not a
tumor.
tumor, it's a teratoma.
Yeah.
Or it's the 5G in my phone, who knows?
It's like I got extra teeth growing into my beard now.
Yeah.
Oh, which, speaking of which, one of the things I saw is that this is to completely hide and push through 5G everywhere.
But they didn't.
I saw that too.
But they
Yeah.
did. How would they need to? Everyone was welcoming it anyway.
No.
No.
It's not proven by FDA. It's not proven by FCC. There's no test showing what it does and what it
Well, then
doesn't
what a
do.
perfect way to do that when everyone's working from home and there's telemedicine and teleteaching and teleconferencing. You need a strong.
And the network's about to break because everybody's streaming nowadays.
Yeah. So yeah,
You know,
what better way
you
to
know.
push through a strong backbone? God damn.
But you remember when these first came out, they're like, hey, don't hold the phone to your head because the microwave antenna is going to cause you to have cancer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now we're talking about, 5G radio waves going. Dude, we get more radiation from the sun than we do any of this stuff. Come on.
Yeah, but why?
You don't get millimeter waves because that's stopped by the upper atmosphere.
Yeah.
What's wrong with 5G?
What's wrong with 5G?
Yeah, Nick or JP. What?
I mean, for my Nick, I don't know if you're going this way, but I know that China's been spearheading the fuck out of it, and they've actually been they've been kind of contracting their 5G, I guess, infrastructure throughout other countries. So really, they're kind of like building influence throughout the world. So they have a lot of South American countries that have signed on to it, as well as some in Africa, and I think that's where a lot of the scare comes from. Is like, we're trying to possibly psyop, people into not being all for 5G just until America can get their fucking handle on it and start building it for ourselves. So,
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. Using coronavirus as a U.S. weapon, maybe the long term is something we don't know. Maybe it's something so abstract. It's like, we need coronavirus because China has 5G, and it's like, what? And it's like, you're not in the need to know, but that's what it is. We need coronavirus because China's building 5G. There's 10 tiers of
5G. It's not. Take South Korea, Samsung.
That's Korea.
LG. They own the electronics market across the world. All the stuff in iPhones is all Samsung parts that they didn't want to put into their own phones. So the guy who did the teardown of the S20, the phone he got was a Korean version, which does not. It has 3 blank spots in it. So when he took it apart, like my case right here is the inside of my phone.
Mm-hmm.
that's
That's
cool.
what it looks like. So when he took it apart, up over here, there is missing an antenna here, and there's like 2 over here. There's 2 blank spots where the ribbon cables connect to, and that is because in South Korea they're not going to do 5G.
Why?
Exactly why. Why isn't South Korea going to do 5G? Well, I have it in my phone, and you can't go in there and turn off 5G with Verizon. If you have AT&T or T-Mobile, you can go in your phone in your settings and turn it off. Verizon, you cannot. It's permanently on. So it's always going to be sensing for 5G and making my balls bigger gears, I guess.
Yeah. Now, what would be the effect of 5G? I'm just trying to think of. So, do you guys know what a LIDA machine is? LIDA. It's something that the CIA experimented with in the 60s, and it's this machine that they literally can turn it on. They did some tests where they could turn it on in a room of people, and like everyone falls asleep, but it's silent. You can't see it. It's on the electromagnetic spectrum. They could get everyone to fall asleep, but apparently they could also get everyone anxious. They could get people agitated. They could get people excited. It was literally like they found this thing where it was like, because it was supposed to be used for therapy, but then the CIA took it and just straight classified it. But it was, look it up, the LIDA machine, LIDA, and they could literally just put whole groups of people to sleep.
So I know people that have ex-wives that are like that.
Yeah.
Either they put them to sleep or they agitate them.
Ew, yeah.
Hey, I was actually let me go back to the 5G thing real quick.
Shut up.
JP. So didn't the UK put a stop to China putting in 5G over there because of Huawei and backdoors on Internet of Things stuff and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, I heard that as well. Because excuse me, because like a lot of the security systems that were also tied to the 5G, it was all like Chinese companies, and they're like, yo, this is fucking shady as hell. So
Right.
I think that's what, I don't know if they confirmed like backdoor infrastructure, being set up, or if they were just cautious of it. But yeah,
Well, there was two independent pen testers in the UK who tested, I want to say it was in the neighborhood of 1,000 different IoT items or nodes that were produced by companies like Huawei and stuff. Mm-hmm. And they found vulnerabilities and or backdoors in every single one of them.
Jesus.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And that's what kind of led the UK, I think, to put the brakes on that. As we're installing 5G here, how much of that stuff is coming from China and how much of that stuff do we got to worry about?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because if you let them construct the whole 5G network, you're basically giving them a gun and putting it at your head. And you're just asking them, hey, please don't turn off the network. Our entire economy is based on it. I mean, shit, that's a lot more efficient than a coronavirus.
Well, I'll tell you what I would do if I was building infrastructure in a foreign country.
Fuck yeah.
You're damn right, man. I'd be putting ways in there for me to exploit it.
Yeah, man, if I'm the
putting cell phone towers across country X in Africa, right, or whatever.
If you're the NSA,
I'd be like, cool. Now I've got access to every single conversation, SMS, message, everything. Now I've got it all.
Yeah, if you're the NSA, man, you make some, just like we were talking about the World Health Organization going into denied areas. Shit, man. If you're the NSA, I'm making a couple front companies and I'm building telecommunications at fantastic rates. Like, what better way to just go in? Because I mean, it's one thing to send in a military force and be like, we're building these, we're building your infrastructure network. It's another thing when you just make it a company and they invite you in, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, what better way to, control everything than to control the network?
So I'm kind of with the UK on putting the brakes on Chinese infrastructure going in there. Looking for alternatives. So I always think organic alternatives are the best.
Yeah.
Do it ourselves, build it ourselves.
I guarantee that we got some kind of like government contracts that are just tasked with reverse engineering that shit and trying to figure it out. And I guarantee on top of that MI6 and CIA are in on it too to try to figure out their own fucking backdoors. So,
and like 5G is based off of fiber optics also. So from tower to tower, it's fiber. Yeah. So this stuff's already going up, and like Verizon Fios, so Verizon, they're already putting the stuff up in New York City. It's in Boise, fucking small city of Boise already has it. So it's already going up in I think 23 or 24 cities across the United States already.
Jesus.
And it's going to be even more difficult, but it's short wave and short range. So it's not like a microwave where you see on the cell towers looks like a giant drum.
Yeah.
But that's the receiver. The horn is another tower 25 miles away that points right at it, and on the other side sends it back out to the other side. So it's just repeating itself along. 5G, their towers, they're putting them on streetlights. They're putting them on corners of buildings. Like, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to see, looks like a streetlight with a big speaker top of it.
Well, in the 60s, through AT&T, the Pentagon had tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of these little shoebox-sized things on top of telephone poles that are largely still there. But what they did is they were able to detect the flash of a nuclear weapon, which apparently, even separate from like lightning or even a supernova, they have a very specific light signature when they first go off. There's 2 bursts, within nanoseconds of each other. But the idea was that these would flash it and then send it along the wire at light speed back to the Pentagon, and they would be able to send that message before the shockwave or before the thermal pulse incinerated it. And we had these, and it was a way to just sort of tie into an existing infrastructure. If all these things go off in random cities, you don't need to put these big towers everywhere. You just go find telephone poles. If there's something still like that hiding in plain sight, you don't want to have a bunch of Chinese people going in and having shit right next to yours. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to be, you're basically saying, like, think of how vital that is. That's why AT&T wasn't broken up in the 60s. Because the DOJ said that they had a monopoly, and the Pentagon stepped in and said, for national security purposes, they will not be broken up. Because AT&T was largely responsible for our nuclear flash detection. It's called nuke flash. That's literally what it was. So, yeah. I don't know, man. Do you think that this COVID, let's say this comes out and it was China, it was the Wu flu. Do you think, could this come out, do you think this could set off Cold War II? Is China not slowly taking up the role of Soviet Russia? Just really put on our thinking caps and
there's been conversations about that, and I don't know. I'm in the boat that, like, regardless if this was personal or not, this is a fucking war, dude. Trump pretty much put the gloves on and said, "Yo, fuck you. We need to take some of our infrastructure back. You guys have been, kind of holding the reins of the economy over the entire world. We're trying to get some of that back." And it really has, man. They've been taking advantage of stuff like, shipping rates and imports and exports and all that crap, tariffs, all that economical shit. So I think this has definitely the, structure of being another Cold War. I don't know if it's going to be, like back with the USSR where we're fighting for, nuclear empowerment and all that other shit. I think it's going to be like,
what it was
more like world influence, really.
Well,
I would see that better.
That's all the Cold War was. That's all it was spheres of influence.
Yeah. That's what a lot of war is in general, is just influence. But that,
you don't have to fire a shot if it's all economic. So,
yeah.
But we talked earlier about, independence, bringing manufacturing back, bringing medicine and medical infrastructure manufacturing back. And Dan, you mentioned oil reserves. That's why we have people always like, why do we need national oil reserves, right? Those are the same people that are like, Mexico's not a shithole and you'll never need a gun. And those are the same exact people that are now buying guns because there's not enough cops to go around, right? So just like we're seeing, this right here is why you need national oil reserves. This is also why I think you need nuclear power. The input is, there's nuclear waste. Okay, sure. That's a lot. I would rather have nuclear waste and have to deal with that than have to bargain with China and be like, okay, I know the world commerce is shut down, but can you pretty please give us some of your oil reserves? Like, you don't want to be doing that. And what is China doing right now? More than the next 2 countries combined, they're constructing nuclear power plants. Because they want to be fucking energy independent too, in case something like what is happening right now does happen, and did happen, and is happening. So yeah, that's what I think. I think this has to spur a huge boost in nuclear power plant construction, because none of the manufacturing matters. It's kind of like Apollo 13 when all the different groups are saying like, well, we've only got this much material and we've only got this much, and then the guys in charge of the power say, well, we only have this much power and we matter the most, because it doesn't matter what ideas you have. If you don't have power to do it, it does not matter. None of this manufacturing, none of this medical manufacturing, none of these medical reserve stockpiles, none of this gearing up for Cold War II matters if there's nothing to turn the fucking gears in the machine. Enter nuclear power plants. Yeah. Nay?
Yeah.
Okay. That's it? Yes.
I don't really think it's about nuclear power overall. Like,
You need something that's completely independent. What is something that can fucking run forever? What do we put on the shit that really matters?
Maybe
Aircraft
it can run
carriers?
forever.
Aircraft?
Maybe we have
Okay.
Chernobyl. Maybe we have, cooling problems. Maybe we have waste problems. Whatever. Yeah, is it clean? Does it work a long time if under the right conditions and the right maintenance? Absolutely. But I think our country as a whole is kind of like taking a step back from nuclear power. That's why we're seeing places like Diablo Canyon in California being shut down, and going offline because there are concerns about environmental impacts and stuff like that. And, what do we do with the has waste from it and all that kind of stuff? And, does it cost more to keep it running than it does, say, other forms of energy, So, solar is free. You know what I mean? It's a little.
But how do you produce that stuff? I mean, how do you produce the solar? I mean, dude, 90% of the world's trade reserves and 30% of the actual physical reserves of rare earth metals are found in where? But Hero, China. All right, you have to have things that, yes, there's nuclear waste, but all the people that are protesting nuclear waste and nuclear power are the same tree hugging fucks that think oil's destroying the planet. So if you think oil's destroying the planet, then you have to take the next least dangerous one, which is nuclear power. Nuclear waste, bad, yes, but we can contain it. We can do it. You just have to put it in an area and lock it off, but you can do it.
We can. You need to make sure that it stays off of any kind of network, that power grid, so that it can't be hacked by hacktivists or something and shut down. Because, that's probably another reason why some of those things are going offline, because they're vulnerable to cyber threats. You know what I mean? So think about this, Tom. If we had nuclear reactors all over the U.S. and some foreign government decided to go ahead and hack them and shut them all down at one time, now you're talking about maybe a couple hundred, if not 1,000 Chernobyls.
Well, the guy I had on last week,
nothing,
who's a nuclear power plant operator, he said that the Gen 4s, which are the ones we have now, they are designed so that they don't need to be so that they don't require power source to keep them from melting down. It's the inverse now. It requires power to keep them up, and if the power dies, it goes down on itself. It's the inverse of power runs out, now there's a meltdown. It's the inverse. Is now you have to have power to keep it up, and if you don't have power, it goes away.
But at the same time, if we go all nuclear, then what if Dan says, what's our backup? So
by all means,
we're still fucked.
By all means, no. I'm not saying get rid of the oil reserves. I'm not saying get rid of the oil import infrastructure.
No, I'm not saying that either. I was just venturing that question. What happens if that goes down?
What I'm saying is you have the capability at any given time as a nation. You build enough nuclear power plants that you have the capability that if everything else gets fucked, you can flip all those on and be 100% okay. I'm not saying you don't have redundancy. Have your primary ones be solar, wind, geothermal, wave, oil,
hydro,
coal, hydro, all that shit. But never, you have guns in your house. You're never at one time needing to use all of them, but you have them all there in case something like coronavirus happens and you need a fucking lock and load. What did Dale? I literally had Dale on the other day. I said, Dale, what should I be doing right now? Should I be freaking out? And said, boy, you should be stacking ammo. And I was like, Roger that, Dale. But yeah, and not only that though, is it's almost like the Cold War. Or it's like, even if, when we wanted to develop the hydrogen bomb, and Oppenheimer and Enrico Fermi and all those fucks were saying we can't do it, and then Teller said to Truman, Truman asked, can the Russians do it? And Teller responded, yes, they can, and Truman responded, well, then get to it. And he said, because it's not that we want it, but if the Russians have it, we have to have it to counter. Well, if China, just by definition, or by default, if China is constructing nuclear power plants at a rate no one else is right now, you don't want to be left out. No matter what they're doing,
So China's changing over from coal. China still uses steam trains. They're still making fucking steam trains in China.
Yeah.
Like what, 1890?
I don't know.
Like
shit, man. All nuclear power is steam. At the end of the day, we're just monkeys boiling water. Like that's at the end of the day, that's all we're doing. But that's what I'm saying is like, if China's doing it, you almost want that Cold War mindset of we should be doing it too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm looking at this from like
to an extent. I mean, yeah, either that or you find something better.
Yeah. Nuclear fusion. Yeah. If I'm having 2 nuclear physicists on from Oxford tomorrow. They both got their PhDs from nuclear physics there. They're doing nuclear engineering. Thank God for coronavirus, because otherwise they would have said no. But they're like, yeah, we're quarantined. Woo! So yeah. Hey man, I feel like I feel like a defense.
So you're benefiting from this.
I feel like a defense contractor during war. Like, this is really bad, but man, they got to order our jets. I'm like, coronavirus is so bad, but you are available for 2 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. Like, it's yeah, like that's so sad. I'm so sorry to hear about your grandma. We can do Skype, we can do Zoom, we can do FaceTime. Just yeah. So. Yeah. Well, you 3 fucks look like you're tired, so you guys want to call it?
Capitalistic pig, you. Yeah. We love you, Tommy.
Yeah. Do you guys want to?
Yeah.
What?
Hey,
I'm fine to keep going. You guys just look tired, and I feel like I'm loud on.
I'm not tired, man.
JP's on point, though. There has to be redundancy built into it in the military. We always have the same. Two is one is none, right?
Yeah.
And for me, whenever I get to move out of California, once all the dust settles and I can actually sell my house there and move out of the state, I'll have backup power for my house, whether it's a generator, whether it's a freaking windmill, that's also going to run a pump for a well, so I got alternative water or whatever, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be that guy that goes, man, the city power went down and now, my refrigerator went out and now I have no more meat in the freezer because it all spoiled. Yeah. Hell no.
Yeah, fuck
But, when you're talking about big infrastructure like power, national power, I mean, those things have to be taken into consideration. There's no doubt that nuclear power is efficient. It does generate a lot of electricity. It is fairly clean, aside from the waste piece of it. But again, it's if it's not protected properly, like everything else that we need to protect, and it becomes vulnerable, then it could be something where if we put all our eggs in that one basket and the basket falls, all the eggs are broken. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But what I was going to say is, look at, so it's almost like putting your money where your mouth is. It's everyone saying, Mexico and South America aren't shitholes. They're wonderful places. Coronavirus, everyone right the fuck up north, right? You don't need guns. No one needs guns. What's everyone doing? They're buying guns. So it's almost like, let's put your money where your mouth is. What power sources do we use on the shit that we cannot have shutting down? When we launch something into space and it's got to go forever, right? What do we use? Little nuclear reactors. When we have aircraft carriers, our mobile air bases, and our thermonuclear tipped, or our swimming nuclear silos, Ohio-class nuke submarines, what do they run on? Nuclear. What do all these things run on? When you really can't have something shutting the fuck down, there's no question. We don't have any, and here's the old-fashioned steam-powered nuclear submarine. No, it's all fucking nuclear.
Tommy, I think you should go into sales, man, because you just came up with a great tagline. If you absolutely positively need it to run forever, go nuclear.
Yeah. Hey, I will take it. Hey, I will reach out to fucking. Well, that's the problem, man. There's no
You need to be a spokesman for the DOE, bro.
But that's not a thing. Man. There is no Exxon Mobil or Shell of nuclear power. There is no one. There's no big name where if we have a salesperson for drinks, what did you say, like Budweiser, Coca-Cola, right? But there is no, you just proved it, there's no go-to name for nuclear power. Why isn't there a Shell? Why isn't there an Exxon Mobil?
Well, so maybe that's why we're not going nuclear, right? Because all your lobbyists are coming from the petroleum industry or the coal industry.
So
who makes a decision on that? Who controls all the nuclear stuff? It's the government.
Well,
and so these politicians want to continue to get reelected, and you got a whole bunch of your lobbyists going, dude, we're in the oil industry, we need oil power, whatever. The hell with nuclear power? You're going to go, yeah, I'm not passing any bills to building more nuclear generators. You know what I mean? So it could be something really as simple as that.
Maybe we could have some national security override. Maybe the coronavirus kicks that off. We cannot have this happen again, right? I mean, and how would you do it? You would offer some sort of government incentive. we will build it, and like you pay us back when it starts making money. Because right now it costs a fuck ton to produce, and it takes about 20 years for them to become more profitable than the oil refineries. That's what the guy I had on that's a nuclear power plant engineer said. So that's why I don't see a lot of them. So what if you had
so
some...
right? But then it's also because the private industry having access to these nuclear materials.
All the cost.
Because the next thing you have is a freaking dirty bomb going off in New York City or Chicago or LA.
He works at a private nuclear power plant.
But the materials are managed by the government.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Yes. But even now with coronavirus, I asked him, I was like, so what's wrong? So they're changing out cores. And I was like, is that a problem right now? He's like, oh no, we have contingency plans. Like we have people that are quarantined at the plant. He's like, no, we don't go down. And he said, he's like, if you wanted to break in, you would need an M1 Abrams. He was like, you cannot get past security. So I just think all the problems that arise with nuclear, though numerous and very real, I just don't think that they are any less than those of fossil fuels. And I'm not even looking at this as like a, in the wars, man, in the oil. I'm just looking at it purely from a power independence standpoint. You don't want to be under a red and gold flag and, oh, hello, whiteys. No, you want fucking nuclear power. Keep it on the shit. Oh, hello, Hans. How are you guys? Hello, America. How are you doing? How's that coronavirus? Shitty rock chicken? No, fuck that. I want a big red, white, and blue nuclear reactor shining for fucking eternity. So when we gotta lock down the borders for the next 100 years, get fucked. We have so much. What was the quote from the 50s for Atoms for Peace under Eisenhower's thing? We will have power that's too cheap to meter. Like, where the fuck is that big dick energy? Like, that's what you want. You want the rest of the world quarantining and us being like, yeah, man, I got the air conditioner with the fucking window open. Like, we got McDonald's running, We got cyber drones bringing around our fucking takeout that's prepared by robots. It's all powered by goddamn American fusion energy. The rest of the world is unquarantined and, yeah. They got all hello, and no, we just big dick in America. Just, you know what? Fuck it. I think this podcast is my unofficial campaign, and
wasn't there a movie like that called Elysium?
Yeah.
With where all the wealthy lived in orbit.
They got Yeah, we could be the metaphorical Elysium. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're just gonna change the country to Elysium.
Yeah. No, just,
I'm down. Let's do it. Name
it America, and yeah, just like Elysium, we can blow up the boats of refugees coming here. Who said that? But like, yeah, it's. I might have just torpedoed my campaign. But yeah, man.
Single out all your YouTube accounts.
Yeah, man. But
you saw my battleship.
Yeah. What? You're doing my management. Hello, Hans. But yeah, man, I just.
Tommy, I got a serious question for you.
What's up, bud?
Actually, it's a compound question. Do you sleep at night, and can we see your notebook that you write in before you go to bed on the stupid fucking ideas you come up with?
You mean my manifesto?
Don't say that.
My insane scribbling on the walls? They'll all see. No, I mean, I write down ideas during the podcast so I stop interrupting people. Most of them are not coherent ideas. Space shuttle. Radar towers that are hot. Deadpool. The hero's journey. Pornhub underlined. Sodium. ... It's yeah.
That first part of your question, Nick, my brother and I were talking about that the other day because on Monday my brother did a podcast with Tommy and then it was posted like that night, right?
Well, no. You got it
on Tuesday.
When I upload it takes like 8 hours to upload. So if I upload it at 5 p.m., it will say uploaded 1 a.m. Yeah, no, it's not.
But whatever. So it was there on Tuesday. So my brother's like, dude, like it's already posted? He goes, I thought it'd be like a week or something. I'm like, no, Tommy never sleeps.
Yeah.
He just doesn't.
Yeah.
No, I think he lives on like Red Bull and Monsters or whatever he drinks.
Man, if I was the president, man, I would have an entire industry towards just keeping me awake 24/7. I would have my own budget of just like I need goddamn like god tier amphetamines.
Yeah, Tommy lives on conspiracy theories and caffeine.
Yeah, at least. But yeah, and some.
Hey, can you harness that and turn it into power, man? Then we won't even have to worry about nuclear waste.
I don't know, man, but I think I'm going to use my podcast. Yeah,
It's called
it's called pissing.
human trafficking in the endocrine system.
Yeah. You think
Take the adrenaline gland off your kidney.
adrenochrome? Yeah, human trafficking. Yeah, man. Maybe that's. I don't know, man.
With JP's down in Cuba, so can you fill us in?
Yeah, JP. Do you have like one of those 1950s cars?
Nah. No, but I got an unmarked grave in my backyard.
Yeah. For all those dissidents. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna fill it or I'm gonna put someone in it for you.
Yeah. No, you're gonna have people that didn't vote for you. Yeah, JP runs for power, and it's like he wins by 100,000 votes in a town of like 3,000 people. Like one of those dictatorships where it's like, what a wonderful turnout.
Yeah.
So,
all right, Hillary.
Yeah, I know. Well, what I was gonna say is, does anyone remember how in like December, Kim Jong-un said he has a Christmas surprise for the U.S.?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, coronavirus came about 2 weeks later. What if that's Kimmy?
I was only kidding, Donald.
I don't think he's confident enough, man.
Hans.
Hearts breaks.
You were talking about like black ops guys. You know, I could have sworn that we had like a sniper team just waiting to take that fat fuck out. But
I'm sure.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm sure we had a dude. Man, so I tried to get. Not only did I not get Mattis on, but I also tried to get. I sent an email to General Petraeus' people and Leon Panetta and Michael Hayden. Right? I'm sure you guys all know who. Man,
who are they?
well, there's some really neat guys. I play pickup basketball. No, so I emailed them all and asked them about. I was like, "Hey, would you like to come on my podcast and talk about
Didn't you go after McChrystal too?
Yeah, no, I went after like a ton, and I'm sure I'm on a list somewhere because I've asked them all. I was like, "Hey, I would like for you to come on and talk about like the ultimate high ground, space-based weapons, kinetic, laser, and directed energy-based." Man, I didn't get a response from any of them, but. Yeah.
That's because these aren't the droids you're looking for.
Yeah. Greg, 5G in your head.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Better go get you some tinfoil and make a hat, brother.
Yeah. No, trust me.
How much of a PP smack would have been if they all went on Joe Rogan that next week after yes?
Oh, man. Oh, man. Y'all would have fucking seen my manifesto on CNN.
That motherfucker.
I would have been all over the news. Like, who could have seen this coming? Man, anyone that watched this podcast could have seen this coming. Like this. I saw. He said he would. He said it. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
God, that's funny.
Yeah, man. It's yeah, and like I told you, man, I got a pretty big earful when I called Northrop Grumman and asked them to have someone on my podcast to talk about the B-21 Raider. They were not happy about that. Same with Lockheed Martin asking about the SR-72. Yeah, man. Maybe I'm barking up the wrong trees.
You're on a watch list.
Yeah.
Oh, that much is established. Yeah.
Have you tried flying lately, Tommy?
Yeah.
No.
Tickets are really cheap right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. There's no reason why I couldn't.
And if you're on that flight,
research from Dr. Banana Fingers.
What?
and if you're on that flight, make sure you bring Hillary and Cuomo with you.
Yeah. Right. Seriously. Seriously. Yeah, man.
Yeah. We're all laughing because we're like, yeah, that would happen.
Yeah. It was a matter of time.
You walk on and see Bernie Sanders, be like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
I was told to come on this flight.
Can I please cancel my 30 days of being a commie?
Yeah. I have all of the fucking in-flight peanuts. This one man has the top 1% of the snacks and beverages for this domestic flight. Tough crowd. So
You need to share that, man. You need to share it, Tom.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my brain's fried. I'm all out of ideas.
I gotta take his call.
Y'all want to call it? All right. Bye, Nick. All right.
See you, Nick.
That's
I think
great.
he said he needed to take a call. But
Yeah, what a douche.
it's your call, man. It's your podcast and stuff.
You want to try that again?
Your shirt
It's your podcast and stuff.
JP, I'm fine if you want to keep chatting. Dan?
Yeah, I'm good for a little bit more, man. I'm good for about another 30 minutes max.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Yeah. Wife's coming home. She's bringing home dinner.
All
so,
right. You guys want to shoot for 6 p.m. Eastern?
Yeah.
Shut this bitch down. Yeah. So, Dan, I had your brother on, and
Yeah. I gotta finish watching that episode, by the way, man.
yeah. JP, you need to watch that one. Dude, his brother was a base historian at Holloman Air Force Base.
Oh, yeah, I started watching that the other night, yeah.
He has seen unredacted Roswell documents.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
He kind of shot them down and said it's all false and stuff.
Did you see some silhouette pictures of the Batmobile and stuff?
No, but he did say literally everything was weather balloons.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, literally, no, that's a weather balloon. But, yeah, man, so what I had brought up to him was, I don't know, because it was like a 10-minute explanation, so I'll bring it down to 1 minute. I was like, so let's say, like right now, let's just say we're all quarantined, and let's say no one's allowed to you're not allowed to leave your yard, right? You're not allowed to do anything that leaves the yard. And so no one cares if a bunch of kids are fighting in the front lawn. But finally, one of the kids shoots up a mortar or a bottle rocket or a flare, breaks some windows 3 houses down. So he has now left the confines of his quarantined area and has now caused damage to others. Well, after a distance in space and time, so maybe an hour goes by, maybe 20 minutes goes by, a squad car comes by, just rolls on by, maybe doesn't stop at your house, maybe stops at a different house, so a distance in space and time, right? A little bit of a delay, but they ultimately come to your area. Me and my friends used to do this freshman year at Pius, JP. We'd shoot bottle rockets at each other and use trash cans as shields, and then we'd go hide inside and watch the squad cars go by. Right? So July 16th, 1945 at 5:45 a.m. in Alamogordo, New Mexico, we detonated the Trinity nuclear bomb, right? Very first one. And then what's the first thing we did? Went and dropped them on some populations of people. But then what did we do after that? We had the 509th Bomber Wing, which was the only atomic bomb wing in the world, and they were stationed right near Alamogordo. July 8th, 1947, Roswell, New Mexico was where the flying saucer allegedly crashed. 8 days shy of exactly 2 years later after the first detonation, and 117.2 miles apart. Does that not seem like the metaphorical squad car being like, hey, what are you guys doing? All right, you guys, I don't care if you guys are playing paintball in the front yard, but you just got somewhere else, right?
Aliens are like, whoa.
Aliens are like, you guys can fuck each other up forever. We've been hands off since the wheel and the discovery of fire. But now they're coming by, just shining lights, whoop, whoop. You boys got some nukes, right? It seems like that's exactly what happened. 2 years later, they come by and just, whoop, whoop. What's going on? Where are your parents? You guys got nukes, you got to stay on the planet. I don't know, man.
Or they came by for a joyride, man, just to check it out.
That's Joe Rogan's theory.
Flying saucer. Mom and dad's flying saucer, and
Joe Rogan's theory is that Earth is the Tijuana of the Milky Way. And, and this is where they go on the crazy nights when they're like just doing coke and fucking drinking tequila out of the bottle. They're like, "Fuck it, let's go to Earth. Woo! Like let's go abduct some farmers. Let's go fuck up some cows, man. Cattle mutilation. Woo!" And like every once in a while they crash, and it's fuck, we gotta bail out now. Like we gotta get out of here. So
David was probably like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, David was looking at me like, you're a fucking idiot. Yeah, he was like, well, I'm not sure if that's the case, Tom. But I was like, it's like purple in the face. Like, you don't think that's what's happening? Like, yeah. So
he's like, no.
No, he's like, no. I think they're, yeah. So
I gotta finish watching that episode. He's a funny dude, man. We are very different personalities, he and I.
You guys are polar opposites.
Yeah.
You've seen that South Park episode where Stan and his dad accidentally discover like warp speeds and shit.
Yeah.
That's what I always feel like. It's like, aliens came down. They're like, all right, yep. Just wondering if you guys have seen this space criminal and shit. Yeah. And what happened to Finland? Like,
yeah. Hey, so did you guys shoot this thing at warp speed? Oh, no. How is that any different from like the baseball through the window? And it's haven't seen that. Like, really, you guys are wearing baseball gear? Like, nope, I've never seen that ball before.
Just watching the game.
Like, where do the UFOs come? They come right near, of all places on Earth, right near where we have atomic bombs. And it's like, hey guys, what's going on? And we're just like, oh hey, what's going on? We're just out here playing baseball. Like, no nuclear bombs. And like, where did they go? Supposedly at Holloman Air Force Base. What's that UFO story? They went and started tinkering with the silos. Really, you guys don't got anything in these silos? I don't know. I've never seen those before. What are those? It was pretty cool. You're like, really? Okay, like, whoop, whoop. All right. I don't want to come back here, guys. Like, you know? And what did we do? Not a couple, 7 years after we discovered fission, we set off a thermonuclear bomb in orbit, Operation Starfish Prime, 1.4 megaton warhead over the Pacific. Let's see what happens. It knocked out most of power in Hawaii. All right, now we're throwing nukes into space. And there were no more after that. All right?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It kind of seems like the aliens came by and they're like, y'all can do whatever you want here. We've proven that we're hands off. Genghis Khan, World War I, most of World War II. We don't care.
I'm failing you.
What? Sorry, you
the aliens are gonna fly by and spray us with chemtrails.
Yeah, well, no.
Make us all get fucking the Wu flu.
Yeah, Wu flu. Dan, remember when you were talking about a couple weeks ago you said that there's that radio signal from some star cluster and they're being...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
explain that to these two
repeating.
fuckers.
Yeah, so scientists found a deep space radio broadcast, right? It's light years away from us, but it's a repeating signal. Same frequency, same intensity, same rhythm.
Send nudes. Oh.
Well, so I'm like, it seems to be coming from an intelligent source, right? Whether it's artificial or organic intelligence, it's coming from an intelligent source. And I'm like, dude, replicate that damn signal and send it back. You know what I mean? Maybe they're saying hello. And we go, hey, what's up? By the time they get it, we're all going to be dead anyways. And, our generations of our kids are all going to be gone anyway. So, somewhere down the line, they're going to be like showing up here on our doorstep going, hey, you guys said hi back. And they're going to be like, who are you? What? You know what I mean? So I'm like, just send it. Send it back. Who cares?
What if that signal is really not saying, hey, it's like, yo, want to fight? Like,
hey, even better. We're all going to be gone. Who cares?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we're going to be mortgaging, 10 generations from now. So what? It's fine. Yeah.
It's like, they should have been staying in there.
Yes, you have been staying there.
So my buddy who just called, he's like, hey, you got a minute? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing a podcast. He's like, about what? I'm like, what are you calling about, dude? He goes, I want to talk politics for a minute. Now, mind you, I was stationed with him in England. He grew up about 40 minutes south of me here in New York. He lives in Vermont now. And he goes, yeah, I was just talking to my buddy, and what do you think of this Chinese flu in North Korea? I'm like, dude, we already talked about it. Like, you're behind the curve. I'm like, just watch the podcast tomorrow, you'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, we're ahead of you. We're the bleeding edge of conspiracy and mental inhibition. Yeah, but so that alien fucking the radio sequence.
Yeah. So, it's an interesting thing, right? Because radio waves, they travel roughly the speed of light once they leave the atmosphere. You know what I mean? Subject to interference from celestial objects, whatever. But, it's relatively quick. You know what I mean? So, let's say it's, 10,000 light years away. Cool. So this planet has to wait 10,000 years for a response.
Yeah.
Okay. We're all gone, so why not? Just send it. So like JP was saying, well, what if they're saying instead of hello, hey, you guys want to fight? And we're like, yeah, let's get it on, man. Let's go galactic, right?
Yeah.
We're all going to be gone anyways. Who cares? Just send it. Send it.
Send it out, man. Yeah, send some cat calls back. It's like it's like high school, and you and your buddies are drunk, and there's another group of guys, and you're walking on opposite sides of the street, and someone yells something back.
Yeah.
They rarely ever start fighting.
Don't say that word, you'll actually get us banned. Don't say that word.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Let me write down the
it might be,
timestamp.
hey, what's up? And we're like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
You might have to edit out my F-bomb earlier.
Oh, I got the timestamps of both. 3:22:12. Yeah. Mine's at 3:22:12. Yours was at 1:49:43. Yeah. Because YouTube will straight fucking communist. They will to the gulags. Yeah. So yeah. So what if that's the way?
I've said it once. I've said it a million times. We're pretty foolish. We believe we're the only intelligent life form in the whole whatever it is beyond our borders, right? Our celestial borders.
America?
So,
I thought you were talking about just on Earth.
No, I'm talking about like a Milky Way, man. Beyond that, dude. So it's one of those things. It's like, have we been visited in the past or whatever? Are we currently being visited? I've never been probed, so I don't know. I can't testify to it. I feel cheated in that respect, but it happens.
What, do the aliens not think I'm cute?
Yeah, right. So.
Oh, I get it. You're looking at all the 21-year-old guys. I'm too old now.
Yeah, back in my day,
Put on some makeup.
But if there is an intelligent being out there or source out there that's broadcasting, dude, we should make every attempt to make contact.
Absolutely. Yeah, just holler back.
Because I would love to see the world's religions, politics, everything get turned upside down.
Maybe the aliens are really turning up their signals right now. They're really catcalling at us. And maybe that's why we released coronavirus. Like, everyone needs to go inside. Like, everyone go inside. It's literally like tell the kids, you go back inside. I'm dealing with the crazy neighbor. It's like,
I mean, think about it. This could be maybe it's music, man. Maybe it's like intergalactic Skrillex or something.
Yeah.
They're broadcasting and we're finally picking it up.
Maybe it's literally just the equivalent of their teenagers just screaming penis into the void. And we're like, intelligent life, and they're just like,
maybe we're being challenged to a dance off.
They're just saying, they're just like, cock and ball torture, and we're like, oh, contact. Yeah, man.
What would be the greatest thing is if it was like, show me what you've got.
Nudes.
Yeah. Good job. Yeah. But I was thinking, like, what if it's like, what if you're alone in the jungle and, like, someone yells out, like, do you necessarily want to yell back? When a lion roars, are you like, what up? Like, no, you're kind of quiet, go climb in the tree, don't make a noise, there's a lion. What if it's just an alien species, a predatorial species, yelling out, and they're just, this is Darwinism on a galactic scale. Who hollers back? They're gonna get fucked.
Or the giant bats coming at us for eating smaller bats.
That was stupid. That was the dumbest thing said this entire podcast.
If I see a 7-foot prawn knocking on my door asking for sugar, or gas to get back home, I'm still gonna shoot it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna smoke it and eat it, see what it tastes like.
Yeah,
that's how coronavirus starts, man. Eating random shit.
Wait, think about it. If an alien showed up on your porch, it didn't look like human, right?
Yeah.
Or any other animal we've ever seen, but he's like, "Can I come in?
Yeah.
Can I borrow some sugar?
Yeah.
Gas? My saucer is broke down right now." I'd be like,
"Yeah,
honey, call the media. We got one.
We got him." I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, Dan. I bet you try to seduce it.
I'd be like, "Hey, Smithsonian, I got one. You want to stuff it?
I got one. You want 100? Yeah.
Give me some ends.
Yeah.
I was just stuffing it, so the DNA is gonna be a little mixed up, but
Next thing you know, they come back, and they're like, "Hey, President, we need you to hand over this guy, so we can have him stand for intergalactic war crimes."
Or the alien species come and it's like the equivalent of their Mother Teresa. They're like, "Have you seen like she's our greatest humanitarian fighter, and she had to seek refuge on your planet?" And we're like,
nope.
We're like, nope, we have never seen her.
I don't know who you're talking about.
That's the one we just. Mr. President, that's the one we hit with that terawatt laser. We've never seen it.
No, we didn't.
Oh, we blew her fucking brains out. We prodded our skull around at the Super Bowl halftime show, like, Earth 1, y'all 0. And it's like, no, we've never seen your Mother Teresa. Like, yeah, man, I don't know.
You guys ever see that Robot Chicken sketch with E.T.?
Yeah.
You gotta watch. It's so funny, man. They're like, "Hey, are be able to call us back and come back home, man. I thought we ditched them on Earth,
He's writing down.
I'm writing down the time. Yeah, he can't say those words.
The other ETs are all playing basketball and stuff. He's like, "Ouch." I was like, "We ditched them on Earth."
Yeah. I started the podcast yesterday with Dale and Joe Tedeye. They were both in the. They won't call it, but they were in the CIA Ground Branch Special Activities Division. And beforehand, they're like, "Tommy, any anything we can't say? And I was like, yeah, you know, these 2 words you really can't say, or I'll probably get banned. And Joe was like, nothing else? And I was like, yeah, you know, let's just not do any cussing or anything. And he was like, got it. And I started recording. I go, what the fuck's up, man? And you can see his face in the first 2 seconds of the video. He goes, it's really...
Gotcha, fucker.
You know what? Yeah. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. Final words, last thoughts on anyone? I want to go get some food, so I'm not going to go till 6 o'clock. Unless, I know.
I look red as shit. I don't know why.
It's because you're fucking stuffing that alien, man.
You're a little pink-headed dude. It's all silent. That's awkward.
Yeah.
So
yeah, great final word.
I got one thing to say. Hey, Tommy, thank you for having me on. Inviting me back. Nick, good to see you. JP, good to meet you, dude.
Yeah, nice to meet you, man. Yeah.
Well, stay in touch, man. Chat more in the future and stuff. So.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan, you dropped this.
Oh no, you got the wrong one.
Oh,
there you go.
I don't get it.
Tommy, always a blast. Sorry I was late, man. Dan, good to meet you. Nick, man, it was fun, dude. Nice catching up with you. So.
Yeah, you dipshits need to come on again. We need to do a nighttime cast, and you 3 need to get fucking hammered.
So, I am down for that.
No.
Yeah.
I'm down
Nick,
for that.
you have to do it. I'm not asking.
Dan.
And from YouTube.
Danny boy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the same affliction when I get hammered as people do when they have hypothermia, where they start feeling hot and all their clothes come off. It just happens. Yeah.
Like the wilderness for me will go to the next level and then the next level, and then you're like, how can someone comprehend this evil shit in someone's head?
Yeah, it's funny. So Nick is saying the next level. What he really means is the next level, the next level, the next level.
Race to the bottom.
Like the descent through Dante's Inferno.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like when you're bowling, you know, you're drinking. Your bowling game gets better, then all of a sudden it just drops right the fuck off.
It's called the Ballmer peak, or the Ballmer curve. Steve Ballmer noticed it at Microsoft back in the 80s or 90s. When you had 1.5 beers, your coding ability, like the errors you made, dropped by like 99%. But as soon as you went over 1.5 beers, it plummeted back down to baseline. But
Hey, Tommy.
Yeah.
I think you're letting your inner nerd show a little too much.
Like 1.5.
That was the Ballmer curve. It's not me. It's
your inner nerd is coming out just a little too much.
Okay, Dan Libby, never coming back on the podcast. All right, Dan, you are. Fuck you, Dan. Peace.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
I'll see you.
Shit, dude.
All right. I'll see you fuckers later. Much love, guys. Stay safe.
Love you.
Peace.